各位亲爱的观众朋友们，大家晚上好，欢迎收看由斗鱼 TV 冠名星际老男孩主办 SC Phone 为您带来全程直播的 WTL 世界星际战队联赛季后赛的比赛直播现场，我是主持人小兔。在这里要首先感谢我们的首席赞助商鹰角网络，以及我们的官方赞助商态度以及 Real 强爽对于我们本次赛事的大力支持。那么经过了昨天的比赛，我们先来看一眼我们的晋级情况。在昨天的比赛当中 ，ABYDOS 先后战胜了 Liquid 以及 DKZ 战队，一路杀到了今天的比赛当中。那今日的比赛将会由 ABYDOS 率先来迎战 BAS， 而他们的胜者也会在第二场比赛当中与 OSG 一同角逐冠军的宝座。那么我们本次星际战队联赛季后赛将全程采取冒泡赛的赛制，两支对阵队伍可派出最多5名选手进行 BO2 的双复活赛制。那么各支队伍将会根据他们在常规赛中的积分排名来决定我们冒泡赛的轮次。好的，那么我们马上就要进行对 BAS 战队的一个采访，让我们来连线一下他们吧。Hello， 我们要采访到的是 BS 战队的鹿特丹，来先跟观众朋友们打个招呼吧。
Hello, Rotterdam. Can you make a greeting to the fans in China?
Hello, hello. Thanks to everyone who's currently tuning in. It is a pleasure being here. We are very excited for the final day of WTL. Ni hao. Good luck. Let's have fun. Let's go.
大家好呀，欢迎大家准时收看 WTL 比赛的最后一天。
好，你好，你好。那我们这边也是有很多观众特别想让你谈一谈，在昨天对阵我们中国的小色选手的一个感受。
After the flawless victory against 小色 yesterday, how are you feeling right now?
I was very happy with it because for the last 12 months, every single event I went to, I met some Chinese fans, and they were always very nice, but then they always made fun of me for losing to Chelsea. And they even gave me gifts. They kept on giving me potato memes and everything. So after being reminded of that defeat 3, 4, 5 events in a row, I was very happy to get revenge. And hopefully the Chinese fans will leave me alone now and will just be happy to see me and not talk about me losing a show match.
能赢下比赛，我首先感到的肯定是很开心啊！在过去的整整12个月里面，我也在线下见到了很多很友好的中国粉丝。但不幸的是呢，他们经常拿我输给黄旭东这件事情一直在调侃我们，不断的给我送来一些礼物或者是一些关于土豆的梗图。那昨天呢是成功反击赢下了小色，所以说在此我也是希望中国的粉丝们可以给我放一条活路，不要再一直在来拿这件我输给小色这件事一直来开帅我了。
好的，我明白了，就是过去的这一年真的很难。But look at me now. OK， 那我们其实昨天的话，我们的另外一位传奇选手 F91是有拱火小色，想要跟你再打一次。现在就想问一下鹿特丹，你敢不敢再来一次？
And yesterday, F91 is trying to says that he wants maybe 小色 wants to have another battle with you. And will you accept that challenge?
Of course, because we are 1-1 now, so I do think we need to crown a winner. But I do think he needs to practice a little bit before trying to challenge me, because the games weren't really all that close. So maybe a couple months of practicing, maybe he can get some help from Maxset again, because I believe the first time Maxset helped him a lot and coached him to victory. So I will always accept, but I do think he needs to grind a few ladder games first.
当然没有问题。现在我们俩战绩1-1打平，我很希望能和他再来一场。只不过可能旭东同学你还得再多练练。我们俩现在实力近似。赛德老师对黄哥的一个教学啊，显然也是卓有成效的。希望赛德老师也能努力再教黄哥几招。
哇，这个一跳了2个，不光跳了这个学生黄旭东，还跳了他的老师 SED 啊 ！SED 你到底是名将还是无能下课，也是要看后面一次的一个比赛了。好的，那这边的话，我们也是想问一下鹿特丹，因为雷诺选手刚刚其实是拿到了这个石油杯的冠军，你现在觉得他是不是最强的星际2选手
？Rainer has just won the Gamers 8 Championship. Do you think he is currently the strongest StarCraft 2 player?
That's very hard to answer, but one thing that I've always known about Rainer is that if Rainer brings it, if he's really feeling it, he's in top tip shape, he brings his A+ game, then I do think there is not a man or a woman on this planet that can stop him. It's just very hard to always bring that level, and that's why we've been so impressed with Serral over the years, because Serral consistently brings a very high level, but peak Rainer is without a doubt one of the very best players of all time. He has shown that in the past. He has shown it again at Gamers 8. We were very proud of him, very happy for him, obviously, and I hope that he is half as good today as he was last week, because if that's the case, I believe we can become champions today.
这个问题其实很难说啊，但有一点我们是可以确定的，如果雷诺同学现在发挥，如果雷诺同学能发挥的最好的话，那么他毫无疑问是世界第一，这个世界上将没有人能够阻挡他赢下对局。但是有一个问题，就是很难保持在最高巅峰水平来打比赛。相比之下呢 ，Serral 就是一个十分稳定的选手，每一把都能打出高质量的对局。但倘若雷诺在他最佳状态下，那么相信他应该是世界无敌的。然后在过去的比赛中，尤其是在 Gamers 8这个石油杯里面啊，我们也是很为他感到骄傲。如果他今天能发挥出上个礼拜一半的水平的话，那我们只能说今天稳了。
哇，也是期待今天雷诺同学可以有依然如同他石油杯一样高超的发挥。好的，那么下一个问题是，你们今天要对阵的对手是 ABS 战队，在此之前有没有预料到是 ABS 战队一路杀上来的？那么这两天的比赛，觉得 ABS 里面哪一位选手的表现最好，可能会对你们产生很大的威胁呢
？Have you ever imagined that your opponent this round will be Team ABS? How are you feeling right now? And which player in ABS do you feel poses the greatest threats?
We were a little bit surprised. We were already discussed potential opponents earlier this week. We obviously knew that we would only have 2 matches today if everything goes well. If it goes wrong, only 1, but we don't really think about that too much. So we went over it. I expected DKZ. I thought maybe Team Liquid if Clem is on fire. But then Serral already corrected me in our private team Discord, and he said, like, it could still be ABYDOS. And I was like, yeah, actually, you're right, Jonah. Well, he's like, let's just wait and see how Saturday plays out. So we didn't really expect it. We thought there was a tiny chance, but they have a good roster. We should have already played them 2 times in Code A, and somehow that didn't happen back then. We played them once in the regular season. We knew they had a good team. Didn't really expect it, but we were prepared anyway. And when it comes to fearing a player, Cure is obviously incredibly good. We know that Cure is very good.
确实啊，这个结果也是令我们有一点意外的。我们在1个礼拜之前就讨论过了，我们可能会对阵谁。当时觉得最有可能的可能是 DKZ 吧。同时如果 Clem 当时发挥的比较好的话 ，Team Liquid 也是我们一个潜在的对手。只不过当时呢 ，Serral 就纠正了我，他说 Team ABS 也是有可能打到我们能成为我们对手的嘛。只不过那个时候我们没考虑太多，这个可能性也是不大。但是既然现在 Team ABS 已经晋级了，那我们之前在 Code A 的时候也和他们有过2次对阵的记录，同时在之前的比赛中也和他们有过。诚然 Team ABS 是一支很强大的战队，但是虽然我们没有预料到，但是我们也已经充分的准备好了与他们的对阵。就选手而言的话，第1名的毫无疑问应该是 Q 选手了，他真的很厉害。
那我们这边能不能勇于下一个判断，来预测一下今天的胜负和比分
？And what do you think this score will be for this match?
I hope it's going to be a fun, close, and competitive match. Let's go with a 4-2. I believe in a 4-2 victory for us.
我很希望看到今天的比赛打得又激烈，然后又势均力敌，然后我认为最终的结果可能是打一个4-2吧。我觉得4-2是很有可能实现的。
好的，那今天结果到底会怎么样？让我们一会儿拭目以待。那最后来对你们的对手说上一句话，送给他们吧。
Finally, deliver a harsh remark to your opponent.
No, we don't do that. We are happy that they are here. We respect them a lot. We think they're a great team. And obviously, I just want to say thank you to the WTL for running this amazing event. It's been super fun for us to compete throughout the entire year. It really creates a nice bond between the team members too. We always look forward to every play day. So it's been an amazing journey to get here. And we are going to try to crown ourselves champion today. And it's been a lot of fun. And hopefully with a great ending. We wish all the best to ABYDOS. But hopefully we are the ones that move on.
这种放狠话的事情我不太喜欢做，在这里就表达一下我们对赛事组的一个大力感谢吧，很谢谢你们为我们带来了如此多的一些快乐，然后你们的比赛也是让我们队内成员之间的纽带更加深厚了，然后每一天的赛事日也都是十分的紧张、刺激和快乐，但是虽然说 ABS 很努力的晋级到了现在，成为了我们的对手，但我还是希望最终 WTL 今年的奖杯能拿在我们手里。
哇，好的，那也是预祝你们的队伍好运。那好好准备今天的比赛吧，我们一会儿再见。谢谢接受采访，拜拜。
Thanks for your interview.
Bye bye. Thank you guys so much. Have fun.
好的，那么我们精彩的比赛也是马上就要开始了，今天就会角逐出我们本届 WTL 的总冠军，究竟谁可以捧起这个冠军的奖杯？让我们一起拭目以待。那接下来要把画面交给我们专业的解说席。
Coming to you
God damn it, Yaku.
Here it is a large city. I didn't hear a word. It's a large city and capital of the Shanxi province in central China, once known as Chang'an, which translates to eternal peace. It marks the Silk Road's eastern end and was home to the Zhao, Qin, Han, and Tang dynasties' ruling houses, as well as the Terracotta Army. We are here today with the final day of WTL Summer Season 5. I think I'm pointing the right way. We are here with our semifinals and then our grand finals. I am, of course, your host, Yaku of the Zaku, and with me today is Al Único Conductor de Cupes que Jara Detti un Hombre, Light_VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? It's great to be back 3 days in a row. It's been a grueling weekend here of StarCraft. We've seen players rise. We have seen players fall as well. We've seen a little bit of slip up here in the intros as well. It's fine. Okay, you got this. I'll intro us in, Bobby. I'll intro us in. just sitting there. Okay, it's fine. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But yes, it's great to be here for the final day of World Team League. As Yaku mentioned, we are going to be kicking things off with Team ABYDOS versus Team BASILISK, and the winner faces off against Onside Gaming as they are waiting in the grand finals.
Indeed, we are. We're going to be kicking it off with the cat coming in with the predictions.
Let's go.
Let's go, F90 Meow.
Yaku, do you know the cat name?
Yeah, F90 Meow.
Okay.
The chat told us the other day.
Oh, nice, nice.
Ooh. Once again, kind of snubbing ABYDOS here.
The cat believes in Basilisk. Not just the cat, but we are going to have a look at the predictions.
Whoa.
Oh my god! Oh,
Shaking my head.
100%. 100% here for Team Basilisk. No one has faith in ABYDOS.
I'm shaking my head. I am shaking my head. I would have thought that, obviously, Basilisk are some heavy favorites coming in here. They are looking very likely to be making that Royal Road in their first season participating in the WTL, but I would have thought that after last night's performance, people would be, there would be a little bit more faith on ABYDOS.
Yeah, I would think so as well. Like Team ABYDOS, they have some heavy hitters, players like Cure, players like Creator, DRG, and Nightmare. You know, like they are no slouches. I do understand the logic. Like it's a team with Serral and Raynor. You know, like it makes sense for you to place your bets on them, to hedge your bets because they are some of the best players in the world. But they are not unbeatable. And yeah, I just was a little bit caught off guard by that.
Yeah, as was I a little bit, but yeah, what you're saying is making a lot of sense. Like I said, though, I do think that the heavy hitters on Team ABYDOS, you know, they've probably been thinking that if they can beat Dragon Kaizi Gaming, they would have known that it would have to go up against that they would have to go up against Basilisk, and like you said, they have players who have had results against specifically the players on Basilisk. DRG has beaten Serral this year at IEM. Raynor, obviously, most recently has beaten Cure in Gamers 8, but has also lost to Cure and Creator as well. Trigger, I think, is going to be a bit more of a wild card from Basilisk, but honestly, if they send out somebody like Nightmare in that PvP scenario, I would have to favor ABYDOS once again, or even Creator in that PvP scenario.
Yeah, you brought up something really important, and that is the fact that Team ABYDOS, they already brought down Dragon KZ Gaming, and last night that was no easy feat at all. DKZ, they are the reigning champions. They are the only champions of WTL. So for them to fall this early on, for them to not even make it to the grand finals, to the final day, we even had people predicting that DKZ would win the entire thing. You know, Asher was backing them quite hard.
And that's why he's not here tonight.
But that like goes to show like how much effort and how well ABYDOS are doing, right? For them to overcome Dark, Hero, and Oliveira, that is already an amazing feat. And if they can bring down DKZ, mate, they can bring down anyone.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if that really extends too much to Basilisk and potentially Onside if they face them later on, but I want to say that I still have hopes for Team Neo and V.
We're going to go ahead and go over our entire journey for a little bit. That's what the lovely folks from the WTL asked us to do. So we're going to take a quick look at how things went and obviously some expectations and hopes and dreams heading into this weekend. Obviously, we started our journey in WTL Code A. We won 4 matches in a row. And then in WTL Code S, we won 11 matches in a row. Somehow we didn't finish first. But I think overall it went pretty good. What I would like to do first is ask you guys how you would rate your own performance throughout the season. I'm going to kick things off with Yona. Yona, we went 23-1. If you have to rate your own performance over the entire season on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give yourself and why?
9.5.
Okay. Why is that?
Not perfect, but pretty good at the same time.
Pretty damn good. 23-1. Is that what you expected coming into the season?
Well, I had no expectations. It always depends on who you end up playing against, but obviously I was expecting a pretty good score. But I'm not sure if this is well, yeah, I don't know, hard to say. So it's just up to who you play against so much, I feel like, but obviously I had high expectations still.
23-1, we give ourselves a 9.5. Tough crowd. I would have gone for a 10, Yona. In my eyes it was a 10, but if you set up for the 9.5, that's fine. Raynor, over the entire season you went 16-7. How would you rate your own performance?
Not that good. I would give myself probably a 6. Up to like for my standards, that's not really good, you know. I think I could perform a lot better throughout the season. I never lost, which is why I give myself a 6. Otherwise, it would be like a 2. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not very proud of the performance. I don't know. It feels like I troll a little bit too much maybe in these tournaments.
Okay.
In this kind of tournament.
Trigger, it was the first time you played an entire season of WTL Code S. You ended up with an 8-12 record. How would you rate your own performance throughout the regular season?
I'll give myself like a 5, since I did have that one good series against Beyond. But other than that, I think I underestimated a lot of these Chinese players and players I've never played against before, so I'll give myself a 4. Or did I say 5? Okay. Now it's a 4.
5, I think 5 is fine, mate. Raynor, who was the toughest opponent you think you played throughout the regular season of WTL Code S?
I don't remember actually. Who did I play? The toughest opponent?
You had a whole bunch of good Protoses. I know you played MaxPax early on.
Yeah, I guess MaxPax is probably the best opponent I played, if I remember correctly.
Yona, who was your toughest opponent?
You mean like toughest by skill level, or just what was like the hardest match?
You can go with both.
Wow, I have a little bit of the same problem. I don't remember who I played against, but I do remember I started off by playing with Kerr, so I don't think the games were too close, but that was probably the hardest opponent. I had the whole season.
Okay.
And but yeah, I don't think there was any like really rough matches there.
And Trigger, who was your personal toughest opponent?
Udming. Like, that guy plays so weird. So, other than that, Maru obviously, but I honestly, my games against Maru were like technically closer than against Udming.
Alright. And as a team, Rainer, do you remember any team that you thought was the toughest opponent for us?
Well, I think DKZ is very good. They have Dark, Olivera, and Hero. That's a stack lineup. Also on-site, a pretty good team. Maru, Ryang, and Solar. But I think DKZ should be better. But yeah, clearly not, because on-site got first. So yeah, those two teams stand out. Also, Team Liquid's a little dangerous. Yeah.
Serral, do you remember a particular toughest team that we faced?
Probably just on side. Luckily, you stepped up in the last match, so it ended up being pretty simple. But that was probably the hardest one.
And the Trigger, anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, onside and DKZ. I think ABYDOS also deserves a shout out because they're pretty strong, but they never send up the best lineup. So I think that's one of the reasons they didn't perform so well.
Quick question then, and you just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. What was our favorite memory of this season of the WTL Code S? I'll go first, and my personal favorite memory was Trigger defeating Beyond 2-0. I was casting together with Lambo. He wanted to be on voice with me because he already knew that Yona went 1-1, and I think they thought it was gonna go well. I believed in Trigger, and I thought those games were awesome, and I really loved it. So that is my personal highlight of the regular season. What's your favorite memory, Rainer?
For me, it was when the captain stepped up to save us all in the final match of the season. He stepped up to save the undefeated record. I think that was pretty sick.
Okay, Yona?
Well, probably favorite moment was I'm not sure. It's a hard question. I think everything was equally fun. Most matches were fun, but I would say my peak moments probably were just Roti playing, to be honest, as well. That felt the most exciting times.
Okay. Trigger?
Yeah, I think Roddy beating Goblin was the most hype moment for me. I made fun of that kid forever about it, and I still am making fun of him for it, so...
Yeah, it was Code A, not Code S, but fair enough, guys, fair enough. Alright, they really wanted to know who we thought was our ace player throughout the season. I don't think that's very hard based on the records, but I'll go first. My vote goes to Yona. Rainer?
Yeah, that's a really dumb question. I usually don't like to answer these questions, but it's obvious that Rot is our ace player here.
Okay.
I shouldn't even ask.
Serral?
Yeah, I don't know. Ace player is whoever we picked. What does that even mean? What's an ace player?
Yeah, just who was our MVP, basically. But...
Well, statistics don't lie, I guess.
I love it. Trigger?
Yeah, I mean, he already said it, so
Yeah.
we know.
The Nubius player, you guys don't have to answer. I know my series against Nice wasn't very pretty. It was a disaster from the very beginning till the very end. So I don't need to hear it, guys. We're moving on. Then they do want to know who we would like to face. Obviously, it's not totally certain who's going to be our first opponent. Rainer, you already touched upon it a little bit. Who would you like to be our first opponent in the playoffs?
I don't really care. I think I'm confident as a team. I'm confident for my team, every single opponent. I don't really care, but I don't know. It's probably gonna be either DKZ or Team Liquid, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two most likely. But even then, I would be very confident going up against those two.
And no preference? You don't care?
No.
Right. Serral, do you have any preference on who you would like to play in the playoffs?
Probably, I think it would be nice to play against Team Liquid, just so we get a little nice European server matches, and I think that would be a fun rematch. Anyways, just all things considered.
Cool.
Trigger, do you have any preference?
Not really. I wouldn't mind playing against DKZ. So hopefully I can play like Oliveira because I've never played him before. But
Trigger wants to play the world champ.
Yeah, I gotta get that ego boost by beating him online.
All right. They also want to know who we are worried about. Well, I can answer it for us. I am not worried. I have full faith in you guys. I think it's going to be an amazing Sunday, and I really can't wait. I'm kind of counting down the days, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Rainer, are you worried about someone?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm only worried we're not gonna perform. But if we perform, no shot.
Serral, are we worried about someone?
Not exactly. I think should be pretty simple, but it's always hard at the same time.
Trigger, are we worried?
I'm worried about our opponents after we destroy them.
I like it. And then the final question, Rainer, the Chinese team wants to know: are you gonna destroy the WTL playoffs?
Absolutely. You know, I'm more clutch when it matters the most. I think I'll turn it up a notch in the playoffs.
All right. I think that's kind of it, guys. But if you guys have any final, like, one-liners, a final statement, feel free to hit us. You can say something like, I hope the fans enjoy the games, or tune in. Anything that you can think of. You want to go first, Rainer?
Sure. Make sure you guys tune in for the matches. I think they're going to be very good, and make sure you cheer for us. We're having a lot of fun, and hopefully it continues next season as well.
Serral?
Yeah, just stay tuned for the games and cheer for the Basilisk. For Basilisk in the playoffs. Hopefully we can pull it together. But pull it. Let's take that. That was so bad. Holy moly, that was bad.
That's so good. What do you mean?
I think it was
Came
good.
from your heart.
If you want to redo it, you can redo it.
Well, I don't know. Could I do it any better? It's whatever, anyways. They can probably just cut my part out. But they can probably just cut my part out completely.
All right. Trigger, any one-liners?
Yeah, just thanks for supporting us and cheer us on in the finals if we make it there.
All right. We'll see you guys on Sunday. WTL playoffs. Bye.
And there we have it. Nice little words coming in here from our inaugural team that's making their first appearance here from Basilisk. Really interesting insights coming in from there. I'm loving that question about who they want to face, because everybody gave a different answer for different reasons.
Exactly. I love the special nod there that Trigger gave to the Starving Camels by naming Tudming. Like, personally, like, the Starving Camels, they were my favorite team to, like, watch rise throughout the entire tournament, and I love the games that they provided. But we now have our starting players, and it's going to be Team Basilisk Serral versus ABYDOS' Nightmare. Nightmare, who didn't play at all yesterday. He hasn't played at all during the playoffs until now.
He's been conserving his energy. What can we tell you? He's been hiding his secrets. He knew he was going to get thrown out against Serral first round today, and so that's why he was conspicuously absent last night. Well, I say conspicuously. He was there in his closet, giving us a good little view, but we didn't really get to see much of his play. Now, Nightmare versus Serral obviously is going to be looking like a little bit of a lopsided matchup. Nightmare is a player who I think can punch above his weight, but when I think about him doing that, I normally think about his PvPs, right? Not so much in PvZ.
Yeah, I would even say in current era, Nightmare, his best matchup is probably PvT. Like, he looks so good against the Terrans. He's taking down Bjorn, he's taking down Gumiho, he's even taking down Kira at times. So, yeah, he's a pretty terrifying player in his own right. This matchup, I would say, is his worst matchup at the moment. So it's going to be an uphill battle here. To be fair, anyone against Serral, it's going to be uphill.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he is the statistics don't lie, in his own words. He is the ace player for Team Basilisk, going 23-1 throughout the entire group stage. Now, if it's any consolation here for Nightmare, I will say that Serral's ZVP has looked a little bit shaky over in Gamers 8, dropping at least one map to each of his Protoss opponents there, and all Nightmare really needs to do here is to just win one map, eliminate Serral, and set things up for the rest of his team.
versus Basilisk Game 1.
就让比赛开始吧。
But it's going to be tough either way.
It is going to be tough, and here he is in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity representing Team ABYDOS. It's a South Korean Blue Protoss player. It is Nightmare.
You timed that out perfectly. And over here in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a red Zerg player playing for Basilisk. He is Serral.
You timed that out perfectly.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We're like in sync.
And yeah, you did mention, of course, that Serral, he has dropped maps to Protoss, especially South Korean Protosses in the past, especially, you know, Classic in recent times. Nightmare, I'm sure, has it within him here to bring it to someone like Serral. It is going to be an uphill battle. I mean, we saw how one-sided the voting, the predictions were in favor of Basilisk. We saw how confident the players were as well in that interview, how they weren't really too concerned. They didn't even think that ABYDOS would make it out as well. But I would say that just goes to show how well they've been performing this weekend. You know, they were talking about DKZ, they were talking about Team Liquid, but ABYDOS comes out of nowhere, comes out on top, and yeah, they're a bit of a wild card here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've been pretty much the wildcard team throughout the entire run of WTL, really. I don't think anybody really expected them to be the first team to knock out Dragon Kaisi Gaming in that group stage. I don't think many people expected them to you know, perform as well as they did, really.
Yeah, exactly. So personally, I hope they put on a good performance. Personally, I'm going to be cheering for Team ABYDOS, but we'll see. We'll see how things do turn out. You were mentioning before as well, Nightmare needs to win one game to bring down Serral, and whoever loses this series will have a map pick advantage as well, as Nightmare is going to be keeping his probe hidden towards the bottom left-hand corner of the map. So far, pretty standard openers here. Nothing too crazy out of either player.
Yeah, for now, as Nightmare is keeping that probe over on Serral's side of the map. Seeing a very animated Serral coming out this morning.
Yeah, very animated indeed, and we have that probe set up for a proxy pilot. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Nightmare, not a Stargate opener. Could this be for something like a proxy? I'm thinking proxy Dark Shrine. It's a little bit too early to tell. We'll keep an eye on the gases. This could still be a Glaive Adept opener. And okay, the probe is moving out. Not going to be staying there for a proxy.
Well, not there for a proxy.
True. There is no robo.
Yeah, there isn't one quite yet. I mean, what would you throw down over in this location, though, if you're Nightmare?
Yeah, and there it
is.
It's
going to be a long walk.
It is going to be a long walk. It's going to be Glaive Adept, so interesting choice here. It's going to be a Glaive Adept opener. We did mention that there was no robotics facility with this. 3 gateways are thrown down. That's 4 gateways back at home. We could set up a 5th gateway across the map for a reinforcement point, just to be that much more committed here. No, oh my god, let's go!
What? He's gonna be mining that out.
Oh no!
Immediately it does get scouted by Serral. He sniffed something was wrong, and yeah, this is a very awkward time to get scouted. It's a little late to really cancel anything, and Nightmare knows he has to. It's now or never. He has to go, and he has to go with a pretty suboptimal pathway into the middle lines of Serral.
Yeah, as soon as the link showed up, we saw Nightmare shake his head on screen. He did have to transition out of this. He canceled one of the gateways, so that means it's not going to be 5 gates. It's going to be a 4-gate Glaive Adept opener, and we can see he's transitioning into a Dark Shrine. So far, it is being hidden here from this Overlord. We'll see if Nightmare can keep it hidden against Serral.
And I kind of like this transition coming out from Nightmare. He knows that if Serral wants to play cautious and wants to get his Roach Warren, he's probably going to be delaying his lair by that much longer. Maybe not getting his Spore Crawlers either. Maybe not prioritizing Spore Crawlers either.
Yeah, that's a really good thing that you bring up here, is that Serral, he did rescout. He confirms another proxy gateway, so I believe that is still the 5th gateway on the way. He's getting ready with Spine Crawlers, Roaches. A really good reaction here, a really good preparation to deal with Glaive Adepts. He doesn't have a Spore. He is not ready for DTs.
He really, really isn't. So it's just setting himself up for the time being. He is getting a safety spore, just in case. He doesn't want to throw away the lead that he set up for himself just yet. But we'll see if that even comes into play. It's not going to be in range of that third base, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Nightmare does check with the Shade. He confirms the location of that Spore. He knows it's in between the bases, so the DTs, they could go towards the third base instead. Behind this, Nightmare's transitioning. Third base is thrown down, and the Adepts, they turn back around. They need to turn back around to make sure that this third doesn't get canceled.
Yeah, that's a lot of Lings that Serral's throwing across the map. He knows they're not going to be too useful defending against Glaive Adepts. But are they going to be useful defending against DTs?
Yeah, we haven't utilized the DTs yet. The Roaches are moving out. They're looking to shut down this proxy location. Again, it looks like Nightmare is backing off for the most part. He can still try to harass with some DTs, but he has to go in by ground. Again, he doesn't have a War Prison, and the DTs, they do get caught out.
Yeah, that was a questionable move there from Nightmare. Like you said, he scouted the Spore Crawler earlier on. He knew there was vision there, but I guess he just thought that he could maybe try to get away with a little bit of multi-prong.
Yeah, but the DTs go down. The Adepts get caught by the Lings and the Roaches as well. So far, a great defense here by Serral. He's not really losing much of anything. He lost 2 drones at his third base. He's going to lose a couple more here in the main. Oh, actually, this is getting a bit out of hand.
Yeah, really good target firing coming out from Nightmare. 6 drones in total do go down, and at this point, if you're Nightmare, whatever you can get is gonna be closing that economic gap that much more.
Yeah, that was a nice start here for Nightmare, but he does need more than just 6 workers. Again, he invested into Dark Shrine tech. He delayed his third base to get into those Glaive Adepts. He delayed his Blink to get into Glaive Adepts as well. So he's still not in a good position. Likewise, he doesn't have a Forge. He doesn't have upgrades on the way. He may be setting up here for something like a 3-base all-in as he's pushing out with these Stalkers.
I don't think he... Oh, actually, he does have Blink. There we go. Yeah, honestly, utilizing the Stalkers this early on before Serral can really reach his, can really get all of his upgrades, his +1, his Goliath Constitution, and whatnot, is a pretty good move from Nightmare. I'm just worried that as the clock keeps going and as Serral actually gets these upgrades, that counterattack is going to be relentless.
Yeah, exactly. As again, there's so much pressure on Nightmare to do damage with these Stalkers. He does force a cancel on the 4th base. Twice actually force a cancel, so not too bad. He gets a couple of Overlords as well. Without Roach speed, we do see that Serral's having a hard time kiting against this army.
Yeah, Goliath Constitution now finishes up, and that's going to give Serral a much easier time dealing with these Stalkers, but he still needs them in the right position. Nightmare's being so careful with his Blinks. He's dancing back and forth between the Biles.
Yeah, he does lose 1 Stalker, but for the most part, he has been able to preserve his army. He's going to take down some more of these Queens as well, and again, a Nightmare, he needs to snowball out of control, but Roach speed is now done.
Yeah, Nightmare is practically in a 3-base all-in at this point. He has completely stopped pro production, and he's going to need to, like you said, just snowball out of control here. He's going to need to take this engagement and then take it all the way into the bases of Serral.
Yeah, exactly. And so far, he is gaining some ground, yes, but Spinecrawler does get sniped. Blinks are coming in to tank some of those shots as well, but the Blinks so far have been good.
They really have. Queens are now out of transfuse energy, too. There's only 1 transfuse left in this army, but Nightmare has to be so careful not to overextend.
Yeah, exactly. Cannot expose himself. Takes down a couple more Queens, takes down a couple of Roaches as well. Biles hits his own army, slipping up a little bit there towards the end there. Nightmare, can he barely break on through? We do have Adepts slipping in at the same time, getting a couple of drones.
Yeah, really distracting Serral a little bit as well. This is exactly where Serral wants to fight. It allows him to come in from a multi-prong, but the Blinks have just been a little bit too good. 1 Bile will finally land on top of the Stalker army, a 2nd one now.
Yeah. A couple of Stalkers did go down. I want to say 3 Stalkers there. Big losses for Nightmare. Again, every unit matters so much in this position. He still hasn't broken into any of the bases. He's slowly pushing through. He's taking down a lot of Roaches.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a couple of those slow lots just to tank some damage and act as a buffer. But Nightmare is starting to take a lot of damage. Serral now, with his +1 melee, knows that all he really needs is Lings. He just needs to make as many Lings as possible. That was a very aggressive Blink forward, and that is going to backfire on Nightmare.
Exactly. That was just such an aggressive Blink, and it just did not pay off. It looks like Nightmare is being pushed away. Serral has weathered the storm. He has defended, and Nightmare is running out of steam.
Very much so. The slow lots are coming in. Just because Nightmare needs to produce something, and he doesn't quite have the gas for Stalkers yet.
Again, like, the power of Stalkers is that they build up over time. With Blinks, you can preserve them, you can be as efficient as possible with them, but after that Blink forward from Nightmare, he just lost all of that momentum, he lost all that steam, and we can see Nightmare is trying to take gases back at home. He's trying to work on the next step, but at this point, Serral is getting out of control.
Yeah, I mean, just look at that army supply difference. I know that roaches do inflate supply a little bit, but when it's 75 versus 12, that's still enough, a big enough difference that Serral should have no difficulty counterattacking.
Yeah, Nightmare just misjudging the situation one too many times by going for that push. We do see he actually made a wave of pros back at home, but again, there's no upgrades, there's no tech, there's no Robotics Bay for disruptors or Colossi, and Serral is confirming that. He goes in with an overseer to see what's going on, to see the state of the production and the tech and the economy, and Nightmare just doesn't have much going his way.
Nothing at all, really. I mean, Triple Nexus is decent to get an economy going, but Serral at this point is finishing up his 5th base. He is knocking down the barrier, the pathways to attack. He's got Baneling speed, he's got +2 melee, and he's even just working on maxing out by the 12th minute mark, because why the hell not?
Exactly. I mean, things are looking really scary for Serral for a while there. Like, he was up against the wall. Nightmare was on the brink of breaking his defenses. But alas, Serral was able to hold on long enough. Nightmare, he's trying to turtle up back at home. He's trying to maybe deal with those rocks, maybe try and muster up some kind of defense, but he's still stuck with pure Blink Stalker. 0-0 Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, and when you have way too few of them, it doesn't matter how good your micro is, it doesn't matter how well you're able to blink back. He's getting surrounded from every single angle. The Banelings are completely ignoring the Stalkers, going for a much juicier target in those probes, and this has got to be GG. Serral takes game number 1.
GG, well played. A powerful performance there out of Serral, not just with that Blink Stalker defense, but if you remember, it all started with catching that proxy gateway and catching the follow-up proxy gateway as well. Like, Serral, his scouting was so on point that game.
Yeah, this is why you can basically never catch Serral off guard. He even when he has no reason to suspect a proxy, he is the player who will do his due diligence and he will check, because just in case, you don't want to be in that 1% scenario where it is an insane proxy like that on a map like Neo-Humanity, on a quirky map like Neo-Humanity, where you get caught off guard. So, and nothing, well, I was going to say nothing really went right for Nightmare there, but like you were saying, he was actually controlling his Blinkstalker army really, really well. Our observer was showing that he was trading Serral like basically 1 to 2 when it came to the resources. He was trading very, very efficiently, but then he started taking a couple of biles. Then he started losing a couple of Stalkers, and then I think he kind of just panic blinked forward. He kind of, just kind of panicked and thought, oh, I need to do damage now. It's now or never. I'm going to blink forward, and just like that, lost pretty much his entire army.
It did feel like a really desperate move. It felt like, he was maybe losing a little bit of confidence in how long the game was going, and he felt like pressured and rushed to make something happen then and there. But alas, that was his downfall in the end. But now we have game 2, and this is Nightmare's map pick. He's going for Ancient Cistern, a much larger map compared to Neo-Humanity.
Not what I thought would come out from him here, yeah. Ancient Cistern is, like you said, a much larger map, but it's also a very standard map as well. I mean, if you're Nightmare right now, if game number 1 is any indication, he cannot be feeling confident in a macro game against Serral. But here we go. On Ancient Cistern, we have our blue Protoss player representing ABYDOS. We have Nightmare.
Oh, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, going for the 15 hatch. We have the Finnish Zerg player for Team Basilisk. It is Serral. He's an Eric enjoyer.
Yeah, who is it these days?
True. So for those wondering, Serral, he did go for an extractor trick to get a 15th drone out, to go for a 15 hatch timing. The reason for this is that you do get your hatchery on location on time. You get it down just in time before the probe shows up to block you to deny your base.
Yeah, it's demonstrated right there. Sometimes the Protoss player does delay the probe scout a little bit, but this was a textbook. This was a textbook case of why you want to be going for that extractor trick here as a Zerg player.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool to see these Zerg players adapt over time. And this year specifically, we have seen the rise of the 15 hatch. We've seen 14 hatch openers as well. It's a great way to counteract and get a bit of a safer defense, a safer base layout going. This is a little bit inefficient drone-wise, and it does kind of impact your worker count early on compared to a straight up hatch first, but you get the safety net of actually having a good base layout, as I said earlier, which helps against Oracle defense and Glaive Adept defense as well.
Yeah, it's very, very strange seeing Serral go for something that isn't 100% efficiency. But I guess he now realizes what kind of player Nightmare is. He isn't afraid to throw out cheeky little Glaive Adepts or Oracle builds every now and then. So yeah, he just wants to play it as safe as possible. He doesn't want to expend too much brain power this early in the morning, you know? He is on the road to an all kill, you know? He wants to preserve his energy. Serral does.
Exactly. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, you know, talking about how maybe Serral, he recognizes how aggressive Nightmare is, and it's going to be worth just investing in more defensive play instead, especially a little bit early on. We can see Nightmare, especially upon seeing the hatch first, upon seeing the 15 hatch, he's going for a Stargate opener this time, not a Twilight Council.
Yeah, something a bit more standard here. Which again, I wasn't quite expecting coming out from the underdog that is Nightmare.
Yeah, he's mixing it up quite a lot in this best of 2. With this Stargate, he should be going into Oracle, should be headed towards a third base, and at least the intro here into this game, the openers should be normal. But we have seen Nightmare, even off of 3 bases, he can go all in. You know, he'd be hyper aggressive. I don't know if a 3-base Mass Blink Stalker all in will be the wisest of choices 2 games in a row, though. I don't think that's going to be the best move here on Ancient Cistern, just because he tried it previously.
I heard you say intro and I panicked for a sec, internally. For a very split second, I was like, what? I thought we already did that. Oh, God.
You timed it perfectly, but it's okay.
Serral will catch a scout here. He might have caught the tail end of that Oracle as well. He's not going for any Spore Crawls just yet, but there we go. He's getting the Queens in position. He knows what he has to deal with right now.
Yeah, against 1 Oracle, 2 Queens per base is all you really need to defend. Spore now on the way. The Oracle is looking to find some Larva at the 3rd, but very quick morph by Serral is going to attempt to save that drone, at least buy some time. The egg looks like it just barely will go down.
Well, that's GG. That's the equivalent of getting your first tumor sniped by the Reaper. That's the ZVP equivalent of it.
Not at all, but
you speak from experience.
Losing that first tumor is still terrifying in this matchup too, let me tell you. Yeah, we just see Nightmare transitioning. He's getting his 3rd base. We have a Forge, a Twilight Council. Again, everything's looking pretty normal here from Nightmare.
Yeah. A bit too normal, wouldn't you say?
Oh.
Yeah, just a little bit perplexing here once again, but you gotta appreciate the confidence coming out from Nightmare. He says, I don't care who I'm up against, whether it's Serral, whether it's, a world champion, a S-tier player like him, I think I could still take him in a macro game.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe as well, as the Oracles are looking for damage, but alas, they haven't found anything, and that's pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Despite the Oracle opener, very little damage has been dealt here to the economy of Serral. He's been left to his own devices to drone and saturate his base, as we do see the Oracle's going to try and force a cancel at this 4th base, but the Queens are not too far behind. The Oracles are being swatted away, and the transition is going to be +1 into Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, nice. Another very, very standard transition coming out here from Nightmare, especially if he thinks that it's going to be a melee-focused RB coming out from Serral once again, which, as we can see, that is the case here.
Yeah, Serral going for +1 melee. Very fast +1 melee is designed to counteract and go up against these +1 Blink Stalkers. So Serral, just reading this really well, is very well prepared for it over on his side of the map. And he's going for an abundance of Lings. With all these Lings on the way, it looks like Serral does want to apply pressure across the map. Not just deflect a push, but also try to contain Nightmare here to these 3 bases.
Yeah, the good thing that's been going for Nightmare here is that he did keep all of his oracles alive, so he will have a pretty strong defense against Ling Rumbais. But even just being contained on 3 bases is a bit of a terrifying scenario here for the Protoss player.
It really is. The other interesting thing is that Nightmare actually continued Oracle production. This is his 4th Oracle coming out. So he's got a lot of firepower here in the air. He's got a lot to support his ground army. As we can see, the 4th base is going to be delayed for a moment. And Serral is taking up into an infestation pit. So far, he does have the tech to go into roaches, but he's going pure Ling for the time being.
Yeah, pure Ling into, well, usually it's pure Ling into Ultralisk, but that's not really a thing in this matchup anymore.
Let me introduce you to Dark. Dark does know whatever he can. One. True, you're not wrong. But we do see the 4th base is cancelled. There are so many Lings here. Good Stasis Trap, though, is going to take care of the majority of them. And Nightmare is going to be able to trade a little bit more efficiently here.
Yeah, Pulsar Beam, unfortunately, was not turned on there, so he wasn't quite able to deal with the rest of those Lings before they retreated. But this does cut into Serral's map control. Nightmare's going to be finding a little bit more breathing room to do whatever he needs to get done.
Yeah, exactly. So this style from Serral, we see it a lot on maps like Ancient Sister, and we see it on Altitude. We sometimes see it on Near Humanity. I don't know if you noticed, but Serral, his worker count was actually pretty low. He was on 65 workers for a very long time. The reason for that is because he's spending so much lava on Lings, and the purpose of that is for map control. And we've seen him cancel the 4th base like 3 times now. Like, Nightmare, he's been trying to expand this entire time. He just barely cannot. The Lings just keep him at home. They keep him busy, and now Serral finds the time to drone and tech up even further.
Yeah, he knows it's the ball is that far in his court. Even has enough Lings to try to go for a bit of an assault here. Nightmare is on top of re-walling, but at this point, if you've been on 3 bases for this long, every time you need to remake a building, that's going to hurt you that much more. Serral breaks through anyway, as you see in the picture-in-picture.
Yeah, the Lings, they bust into the natural, they bust into the main. At the same time, Serral has enough to defend back at home. He just now spends his gas on these roaches. Again, he preserved them until this moment. And he's even counterattacking, looking to deny that 4th base. Nightmare is being pulled apart.
He just wants a 4th base.
He does.
He just wants it to go up.
For the past, like, 3 minutes, he's been trying to take a 4th. He just cannot. And 23 plus workers are going down. The Lings in the natural are still not cleaned up.
Nightmare just threw his head back for a second there. He knows the writing is on the wall. If he has any path to victory, it has to happen soon, but it's a lot easier said than done here. He's basically forced all in at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, this style from Serral is just like anti-Nightmare. Like, when you recognize that your opponent is going mass Ling, you need to be defensive. You can't be active on the map. You need to focus on defending your bases and focus on expanding. But we saw that Nightmare wanted to, be adventurous with his Stalkers. He wanted to try to be aggressive with his Oracles. And every time he moved out, the Lings moved in, and he was punished for it time and time again.
Yeah, and you just catching these little pockets of Stalkers as they're in the middle of the map is a huge boon. This is not going to be Nightmare's final hurrah, but I'm not entirely convinced he has what it takes. He does have some really great blink control, but it is not enough to overcome the sheer numbers of Lings, Banes, and Roaches of Serral.
Yeah, exactly. Serral now with that ideal worker count is just focusing on nothing but Ling production. GG gets called, and Serral will take the 2-0 over Nightmare.
2-0. Very nicely done here from Serral. A very ballsy move here from Nightmare. Going for something very cheeky in game number 1 and then not having that to work out too well and then deciding, you know what, I'm going to play straight up in game number 2.
Not just that, straight up on Ancient Cistern as well. I know that you were surprised to see Ancient Cistern picked, and I was a little bit as well, as we saw that map is so wide open, it's so large, a lot of bases to be taken, and you can take advantage of the size of the map by going for that kind of mass Ling style, that mass Ling composition. And again, it just works so well against specifically the kind of play that Nightmare was going for this like aggressive Stalker style, just trying to be active on the map, just being punished.
Yeah, I think Serral kind of read him like a book after game number 1, recognized that he is a player who wants to rely on his Stalker control, maybe not one to really transition into High Templar or Archons that often, so going for that early +1 melee was just a fantastic choice coming out here from Serral. And he's going to be staying on for game number 2, or set number 2, I should say. Game, set, match. Wait, game, set. Yes, that's how it is.
There you go, there you go. And this is not the best start for Team ABYDOS. I'm sure they were not expecting Serral at first, right? That's why they fielded Nightmare. Those wondering, neither team knew the starting player of the opposing team. They just kind of sent it out, hoping that they were able to snipe and get the matchup that they wanted. For Team BASILISK to field Serral as their first player is just a really bold move. And it does feel like that caught Team ABYDOS a little bit off guard. Nightmare, not the most ideal player against Serral, and now at least ABYDOS are going to have their choice here, their choice of their players. They're going to be able to snipe Serral or try to snipe Serral.
Yeah, and I guess it does make a little bit of sense as well as to why Nightmare did play a bit more standard in game number 2. There was a bit of a discussion going on before game 2 started, or before map 2 of that set started, and I wouldn't be too surprised if he was talking to like Creator and Cure and some of the other players over in ABYDOS and saying, if you're not confident in winning, just play standard so we can get a sense of how Serral is of what Serral is doing this morning. And this is not a bad choice at all, I think. Two-face Serral here. Creator is going for that rematch.
I love it. I'm digging the Creator pick here from Team ABYDOS. Game 1 is going to be on Gressvan, and the team captain, Creator, is going to be coming out swinging again. He is one of the best Protoss players in South Korea, and I do think he has it in him here to go toe-to-toe with Serral. Bearing in mind as well that Creator has a very different play style compared to Nightmare.
A very, very different play style indeed. A bit of a quirky player, no doubt. Still somewhat standard. I think you were mentioning that historically, Creator does prefer his more defensive plays. He does like, getting his Archons out, getting shield batteries and turtling up. But he is also one to go for some very awkward timings that do a really good job of catching even the best serve players off guard.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even though he has this more defensive playstyle in general, he is willing to go all in whenever he sees an opportunity. Sometimes it works, sometimes not so much. But he's an amazing player, and I am looking forward to this PvZ. I do think he can take it to a player like Serral, and I'm hoping that he was able to get a bit of a better read on how Serral is playing, especially with how he performed against Nightmare.
Yeah, and I think it does also have to be said that Creator and Serral have played a number of times in the past. Creator has not yet been able to win a series, but in their most recent matches in Gamers 8, in Kung Fu Cup, in a lot of other matches, it's really gone the distance. It's been looking a lot closer than they have in the past.
Yeah, it really has, and here he is, the team captain for Team ABYDOS, the South Korean Protoss player. He is blue. He is Creator.
And over here in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressvan, our Red Zerg player taking first blood for Basilisk. He is Serral.
I was just quickly checking some of the statistics, and they did face off at Gamers 8, and Creator did force the ace match out of Serral. Did look pretty damn good in their series. So again, he has taken maps off of Serral before, and that is all he has to do. Take one map here to bring him down. But considering that they already lost one player, Team ABYDOS, as unlikely as it sounds, they need Creator to do more than just take a map. Ideally, the 2-0.
Yeah, that would absolutely be ideal. I think Creator taking down Serral here, it would still set up a path to victory here for ABYDOS, but they would really have to rely on Cure or DRG to really go that distance and win 4 maps in a row, and then potentially another, or failing that, winning the revive match as well.
Yeah, exactly. There is now a lot of pressure on a Creator here to bounce back for himself, to bounce back for his team, and hopefully the pressure doesn't get too much to him here. I know he can be a very emotional player, a very joyful player as well. We saw that last night with all the pop-offs that we saw from our Creator. Hopefully we get to see some of that here today as well. As for now, Serral is going for a hatch gas pool, taking the unnatural natural.
Indeed. Creator, of course, is a very jovial player, but he hasn't been able to deliver his harsh remark yet today. So maybe I'm not sure if that's gonna play into. I'm not sure if that's gonna play into things.
I
Play
don't
into
understand
his confidence here.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head to the WTL organizers. Oh god, but yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Interesting choice here by Serral as well. We saw on Ancient Sister he did opt to go for a more inefficient opener, going for the 15 hatch. This time he goes for a hatch first here, so looking for that more economic advantage, willing to expose himself. Upon seeing that Creator, he goes for a Robo first.
Oh, we know what this is for.
What is it for?
Well, normally I would say Archon drops, but I'm thinking Immortals.
Yeah, so with this Robo first, if this was a more standard game, I would assume it's going to be for a Disruptor drop, for a Fast Robotics Bay, to be active on the map with that. But because it's Creator, this could lead into a 2-base all-in as well. We'll keep an eye on what the tech is thrown down here. It has been a hot minute since I have seen a Disruptor drop opener here in this matchup.
There he is! There we have our Robo Bay coming out from Creator. Y'all know what that means.
Disruptors should be on the way. Now, this can be a really risky opener just because you lack a lot of units early on, especially without a Twilight Council, without a Stargate. You don't really have too much of a map presence. You don't have Glaive Adepts. You don't have Oracles. You're banking so much, not just on the Disruptors keeping you safe, but also on the Disruptors getting some damage across the map.
And I gotta tell you, that's also a very, very risky position to place your Robo Bay as well. Thankfully for Creator, this Overlord of Serral did not go much further north, but it seems like a really easy spot to just check the tech here coming up from the Protoss player.
Yeah, exactly. And here we go. The Overlord is dipping into the main base from behind, does confirm the Robo, does see the Prism already as well, and that should be enough to tell and tip off his opponent. Serral immediately throws down a Roach Warren.
Yeah, this is a really good way of just jumping right on top of those Disruptors. And just, forcing a little bit of micro. The last thing you want as a Protoss player is to shoot out your Purification Nova, and then all of a sudden have to lift your... And then all of a sudden having to cancel that to lift your Disruptor back into the Prism.
Yeah, exactly. As we can see, Creator, he's trying to fake out Glaive Adepts. He's trying to
I like it.
Kind of show a hand to his opponent, but the Robotics Bay has been spotted. The Overlord comes in for a secondary scout. Serral is now fully aware that there are no Glaives, that there is going to be Disruptors on the field.
Yeah, as a result, he feels pretty safe in getting his lair. And yeah, he's not going to be making any roaches just yet. He knows he doesn't really need them, because this is a fake Glaive build.
Yeah, exactly. As he's just focusing on droning here. And again, he's going to have to focus on his reaction time as well to split and avoid those Purification Novas to preserve his worker count as well. As he's getting in position with his Queens, hoping to focus down that War Prism.
That would definitely be ideal. Creator now doing what Creator does best. Nice little shot there. Getting both of those Queens with his Purification Novas. Reminder, it takes 2 Novas to take out a Queen.
Yeah, getting 2 Queens. Very nice value so far out of Creator. A very good start. And he's looking for more. Of course, War Prism speed is done as well, so he's going to be able to zoom in between these bases, and he's looking for some more value here. Hopefully, he doesn't lose this Prism. He shouldn't lose the Prism. It's going to be on Serral, again, to minimize his losses.
Yeah, Serral does have some pretty good vision on the map here. It's all about the reaction times. I think he got, like, 1 drone with that. Yeah, not a great follow-up here from Creator, but at the very least, he is able to keep both of his Disruptors alive.
Yeah, he keeps him alive. He's keeping Serral busy back at home as Creator does find the room to expand and take a 3rd base. He made a safety Colossus as well, so any kind of link counterattack shouldn't find any damage at all. Creator is safe to eventually expand, and he's even moving out with it. He's looking to clean up some of this creep.
Oh. Yeah, not what I was expecting, and not what I think Serral was expecting either, as he does throw down that very, very early Infestation Pit.
Exactly, as again, the Nova's not ideal, getting 2 drones and a handful of lings here and there, but Serral's so quick with his reactions as he goes in for another scout, confirming the gateways, confirming that there is going to be a gateway army follow-up here. We don't have like a big investment into double Robo Colossus production.
Yeah, which... isn't too common, but when you're up against Creator, you can't rule it out.
Definitely. So Serral, for the most part, he's just getting his 4 bases, or he's working on his 4th base as we speak, just saturating his bases as well, mustering up his army. He's done a phenomenal job. Outside of losing the first 2 queens, he's done a great job of just keeping up with these disruptors, and they haven't really gotten too much value outside of those queens.
Yeah. Obviously, taking them out would be ideal, but as long as you're not losing too much of them, you don't really have to worry too much about them.
And I love this from Serral, taking up so quickly into Hive Tech. And the reason for this is because Creator, he rushed into Colossus, he rushed into Disruptors. How do you deal with that? Vipers.
Vipers pretty easily, but we'll see if that ends up being the endgame army here from Creator. Colossus and Disruptors, I mean. Because a Dark Shrine did just get thrown down, interestingly enough.
Yeah, cheeky Dark Shrine on the way here from a Creator. We see a Spotter Ling getting eyes on that 4th base, and the entire army is going to be rotating over towards the left-hand side. Again, Serral doing a great job of just keeping Creator busy while he does get away with this tech. Again, this is a very fast Hive. With this, he can get into Adrenal Glands and get into those Spellcasters. And once he does have them, he will have a much more secure answer to the army of Creator.
Yeah, well, a secure answer to the Robo army of Creator. That's charge being researched right now. A huge transition into a pseudo Swarm Toss style could just stymie Serral here if he is investing that much into his Vipers. Thankfully for Serral, though, he isn't neglecting the rest of his army. He is still getting Baneling speed. He's getting melee upgrades. He's even getting Adrenal Glands, because might as well. He has Hive and he has Lings. He might as well make better Lings.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is just really well done out of Serral to tech up in this direction and be ready for the eventual push in time. The Vipers, they're just sucking on some buildings, gathering up that energy. By the time Creator does move out, he'll have plenty of energy to work with to deal with that gateway-heavy army. Sorry, with the robo-heavy army. Thankfully, though, as you mentioned, Creator is kind of diversifying quite a little bit more here, and he is at least mixing quite a lot of Archons and Charge Lots and Blink Stalkers here, not too heavily reliant on just those key units.
It's almost like a kitchen sink composition coming out from Creator, but we don't see any Tempest yet, so we can't really call it that.
Yeah, exactly. What I will say, though, because he doesn't have too many Robo units, it makes him that much more important. He has 3 Disruptors and 1 Colossus, and if they go down, I do worry here for the army of Creator. I don't think he's quite at that point yet where he can go toe-to-toe with Serral, as Serral is maxed out and he's moving out.
Oh, the Creator really needs to protect his Robo units right now, and he does immediately get his Disruptor sniped. 1 Purification Nova will land on a couple of Banelings, but still, huge pickoffs here from Serral.
Yeah, and just like that, the backbone of Creator's army is now gone. He has 1 Colossus remaining, 0 Disruptors, and he's producing Immortals, but again, he only has a single Robo. He cannot produce 2 units at a time, so it's going to take him quite some time here to actually remax and rebuild his losses.
Even taking into a Spire, because why the heck not at this point?
Yeah, it looks like Serral is just getting ready for potentially even a Skytoss transition from Creator, so in case a Fleet Beacon was thrown down or some Stargates, like, he will have that tech available to go into Corruptors. If he wants to, he could try and go into Mutas as well, but before that happens, Creator being a little bit ambitious with these Stalkers.
Very ambitious. He is able to blink back, but yeah, these Lings are going to be able to chase him down. There's still plenty of Archons over here, so Serral does want to be a little careful.
He does. The Banelings are going to roll into those Archons. Good yoink on the Colossus. It goes down immediately. The Archons are standing strong. That was a good trade against the Banelings.
Yeah, all in all, I think both of our players did trade 1-for-1 when it comes to the armies. Kratos was not paying attention to his 3rd base location, though, or his 4th base location, and he did lose the entire mineral line. He's going to be losing even more probes here by his 3rd.
Yeah, 22 probes go down, and even though Creator has been very defensive, even though he barely has moved out on the map, he's having a hard time defending his 4 bases. Serral just finding the room somehow, some way to get that economic damage done, and now Serral's in the driver's seat. Like, I mean, it feels like he has been for quite some time here, but like, there's nothing really too concerning, nothing really too threatening to him.
Like, Serral's in the driver's seat for most of this game. Now he's just turned on cruise control. The car's on autopilot.
Yeah,
he can do whatever.
I don't think that's what cruise control is, but he's kicking up his feet, he's enjoying himself here. We have a Greater Spire on the way, and that is going to be a checkmate move. If there is no Skytoss coming out, then Broodlords, I mean, there's going to be no real answer to the Broodlords.
Yeah, I mean, Stalkers are decent, But when you have a lot of Lings on the ground as well to sort of buffer for them, the Stalkers aren't really going to be able to get underneath those Brute Lords like you need them to in a scenario like this.
Yeah, definitely. As once again we see Serral just trading here. Again, even if he doesn't get too much damage done, it's more than Creator can afford. Creator, he just can barely max out. He can barely reach 150 supply at this point. And the Greater Spire is about to finish. The Broodlords, they're soon to be upon us.
Yeah, I mean, just look at that income difference. Serral is now maxed out and still mining about 3,000 minerals a minute. Creator is struggling to break into that 2,000, to break over 2,000.
Exactly, and again, it's very wise of Serral to not tunnel vision. I do think there are a lot of Zerg players out there that would just stay on like Lingbane, Roach Ravager, and maybe head towards Lurkers. But Serral, he's just skipping all of that tech and going straight to the late game. A good connection here, catching these Stalkers out of position. Once again, having the map control. Serral still looking to trade, still doesn't have the best upgrades for Broodlord, so he's not quite transitioning yet.
Yeah, +1 fly weapons only starting now. He does have +3 melee about to finish up, which will definitely help with the Brootlings themselves. Another mineral line of Creator will be going out to these Banelings, and Serral is really starving him out at this point.
He really is. Again, just pulling him apart. Creator, he just doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have a large enough army to split in between his bases. As the Lingbane rolls in, there are barely any Archons remaining. It looks like Serral may just be able to break him here and now. We have some reinforcements coming in, but GG gets called.
Serral will be taking game number 1, barely breaking a sweat there, despite getting a little bit caught off guard with those disruptors. His reaction times were just on point.
Chef's kiss, Papi, chef's kiss. Like, it was such a quick move, or such quick moves out of Serral to avoid those Novas with his Lings, with his drones as well, just minimizing his losses and teching very quickly into that hive. And then when the eventual attack did occur, when the clash did happen, Serral, he just immediately reset the disruptor count. You know, he had the answer to what Creator had kind of been building up towards.
Target locked. He knew exactly what his objective was there. He knew exactly what his win condition was in that scenario. He didn't need to win the fight. He just needed to reset those high-tech Protoss units, and he would be set up for an incredibly smooth transition into winning the game, into everything else, really.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also a big reason as to why we don't really see robo openers too much. They are a risky move to go for, just because you do need those disruptors to pay for themselves. You need them to gain some value, and getting 3 queens, which is how many he got, just isn't quite good enough. It didn't really hinder the economy of Serral at all.
Not at all. He got 2 drones eventually, but
true.
Yeah, Serral was also making like 20 drones at a time, so barely a drop in the bucket there of Serral's economy.
Yeah, exactly. That opener just didn't quite pay off the way the Creator wanted it to, and now it's going to be his map choice here against Serral. He has to pick the staging ground to come back in this series.
And I'm sure he does have at least one map in mind coming into here. If we'll recall back in at, if we'll recall in general, I know that Creator does like altitude in PvZ.
Yep.
And, okay, there we go. I was gonna bring it back to Babylon over in Gamers 8, where he did kind of bring Serral to the edge of a loss there with a 2-base all-in, but didn't quite stick the landing there. But no, Creator is gonna go with something tried and true, something that he has won a lot of PvZs on. It's gonna be altitude.
Yeah, I was going to bring up altitude as well. Like, we cast so much of Creator throughout the week, whether it's ESL Asia, whether it's the KSLs, the weekly online tournaments, and this is his map.
Indeed, and this is his spawning location over here in the top right-hand corner of altitude. Representing ABYDOS, he is the team captain of the Abs. He is Creator.
Of the Abs, oh my. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of altitude, we have the Finnish Zerg player, the ace player here of Team Basilisk. It is Serral.
Yeah, I mean, how does that saying go over in Korea? First, you get the MMR, then you get the abs, then you get the waifus.
I do think that the Impact did say that. Can confirm. As Serral is going for a 15 hatch opener once again, so is going to be very safe here, making sure he isn't forced to take any kind of weird, unorthodox spaces. Meanwhile, if you're watching and if you are maybe a little bit unfamiliar with Creator, you may not be aware as to why Creator is fond of altitude, but on this map specifically, he has a very certain, very stylistic play style that he does have quite a lot of success with.
It's Mutas. No, wait. It's a Protoss equivalent of Mutas.
I think that's quite accurate, but
It isn't at all.
We were talking about Creator and his defensive style, very Showtime-esque, and we'll keep an eye on him, but typically what Creator will go for is he delays his Twilight Council, he goes for a faster Forge, he goes for a faster Robo, he relies heavily on Immortal and Archon production, he defends back at home, gets up to 3 bases, gets up to 4 bases, and just like absorbs all these attacks and then goes towards one big Deathball push. Again, very Showtime-esque, as over in Europe, he does play very similarly. So yeah, that is kind of Creator's go-to style on altitude. That's kind of what we're assuming he's going to go for.
Yeah, players last night, or viewers last night, sorry, might recall Creator doing something similar against Laser on, I believe it was Babylon as well, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, just absorbing a whole lot of attacks from a Laser and then going for one big counterattack that he wasn't really able to remax in time for. Laser, I mean. And that's how he was able to win that series for Team ABYDOS. But we'll see if Serral is one to do something similar. Huge. I do feel like this style of Protoss that Creator does like to do is reliant a little bit on your Zerg opponent, overextending a little bit, getting a little bit too, I wouldn't say too aggressive, but overstaying their welcome a little bit in their attacks. And we'll see if Serral is, able to quickly recognize that, hey, I need to back away because I'm not going to be able to break this position. I should just focus on teching up, getting into the base, droning up as well.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, and that kind of comes back to Gressvan that we saw last game, right? Where a Laser, when he was playing against Creator last night, he was very aggressive with Lingbane, Road Ravager. He was constantly trying to break the 3rd base, break the 4th base, and he was being a little bit wasteful. He was staying on it for a little bit too long, and by the time Creator pushed out, we saw that Laser wasn't quite ready for that. Meanwhile, a bit of contrast, we saw Serral very quickly taking up in that last game on Gressvan. We saw him very quickly heading towards that Hive, heading towards not just Vipers, but also Broodlord. So I do think that it is unlikely for Serral to make the same mistakes or the same kind of approach the game the same way that a Laser did.
Yeah, he's going to have to, though, if ABYDOS wants a shot at winning the series and going up to the grand finals.
Yeah, I do agree with that. As Serral does go for his 3rd base, we see Creator going for a Stargate opener into Oracle, so everything's looking normal. Everything is looking as it should. Really, it's the follow-up that we're keeping our eyes peeled for to see if Creator does end up delaying that Twilight Council or how he does kind of approach this matchup overall, how he approaches Serral.
Yeah. All right, so definitely a lot more in him here as he is the underdog in that regard.
Yeah, he really is. The Twilight Council is on the way. Adepts are moving out across the map, looking to harass. Decently timed Roachhorn here from Serral, around 4-minute 40 mark. And yeah, so far, Creator is playing standard. I'm really curious to see if he does delay his upgrades and he goes for a faster Templar Archives, and if he goes for Charge or if he goes for Blink instead.
Yeah, that's still to be determined for the time being. I do think that Blink wouldn't be a bad choice here for Creator, especially since Serral does like his roaches in the mid game, but we'll see if he actually gets an upgrade or if that's just going to be for a Templar Archives.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious to that, as we do see Creator just delaying the 4th base, forcing or even getting a kill on that drone. So very nicely done so far by Creator. Meanwhile, I don't know if you noticed, even though the Twilight Council did finish, he was laying his upgrades, but he's going for that charge.
Yeah, not a bad choice, but not what I was expecting from Creator here.
Yep, and there we go. There's the Robo, there's the Templar Archives on the way. This is going to be for, of course, Archons and I imagine Immortal Production. So again, everything is as it should be here for Creator. Lings are going for a bit of a counterattack, but Creator, he is going to be able to defend back at home. Blink Stalkers can be great units, of course. They can be very efficient, but I do think that their strengths lie in how active you are with them. And again, I do feel like Creator is going to be taking a more defensive role here.
Yeah. Yeah, Chargelots do... We think of them as a very aggressive unit, obviously, but they actually work really, really well in defensive positions as well. Obviously, they have a lot of health and armor on them, and if you can get them set up in a position where you can flank your attacking enemy, it pretty much just shuts down an assault.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, I'm really curious to see how this turns out, as one of these Oracles is going to be going down. 6 drones do fall, so not bad economic damage, but not quite worth an Oracle, I would say, as Serral is rushing into a Spire, heading towards Mutatech. Meanwhile, we can see Creator taking up very heavily. Sure, he's moving out with these Zealots, he's moving out with an Archon, he is threatening a push here to Serral, but he is, again, he clearly has another step in mind behind this.
Yeah, this isn't a real push coming out from Creator. It's a little bit of a fake out saying, hey, look how active I'm being on the map. You should be active too. You know, make units. I could attack into you. Don't get another base. Just don't get another base, please.
The problem is that I do think these mutas are going to blindside Creator completely, right? Like, Creator, he's got a charged out Archon army, he's working on Colossus or even Disruptor production, which means he has very limited anti-air. He doesn't have Blink. These hallucinated scouts say he needs to get eyes on the Spire.
Yeah, we were talking about how in most scenarios, charge shots are a little bit better than stalkers for defense, but this is one of the very few where you'd much rather have blink stalkers in the defense.
Yeah, again, Creator, he's playing in the dark right now, and he's mustering up like a solid army defensively back at home. We have cannons, we have shield batteries on the way. Again, he is just fortifying himself on these 4 bases. Little does he know that there are going to be units in the sky, and he just is going to have a hard time keeping up.
Yeah, especially with Archons. They are very awkward moving back and forth. They're very slow, especially compared to Stalkers. And now the Mutalisks are coming into play.
Yeah, thankfully for Creator, Serral isn't over-investing in them. Serral is actually producing Roaches and Ravagers, so he only made a handful of Mutas here to harass, of course, and they're going to get some economic damage done. This Warp-In is looking to be denied. One of the Stalkers is going to go down.
Yeah, but not much else. Not much more damage can be dealt over here. And maybe he can take out the Robo Bay, but Creator is already kind of waiting for him to make that move. The wall is not a wall, and the slings are able to slip in. This Archon will be kept alive with a shield battery, actually.
Yeah, shield battery does keep the Archon alive. Good target firing out of Serral. He does take down one of those disruptors. There is one disruptor remaining with the main army. Does zone away the roaches for now. Probes, though, are going down. These mutas are getting out of hand.
Yeah, the Phoenix, the one Phoenix is not going to be enough to deal with that. Creator's army is kind of split in 2, which is not bad. I mean, he does want to focus more on dealing with the ground army, and his own ground army is in position for that, but while this is all going on, the mutas are able to get 12, 13 probes.
Yeah, they got 13 probes, they got a disruptor, they got the oracles as well, and good target firing out of Serral. His ground army is getting a little bit out of hand without those robo units to support. Creator, he's having a hard time defending. Can he save that disruptor?
No, he cannot. That would have been perfectly timed if it was timed right, but it unfortunately wasn't here for Creator. Serral will take down that disruptor, and it looks like Serral is going to be taking down the team captain of ABYDOS.
Yeah, exactly. A very potent timing here. Creator, he just needed more time here to really get his death ball up and running. Another disruptor goes down to those roaches. A bit of a missed rally. We do have stalkers here to defend, but I believe I'm not mistaken, they do not have blink.
They do not, yeah. We only have charge, as charge is the only Twilight upgrade that Creator has right now. Surprisingly, he has been able to recover somewhat when it comes to the worker count, but look at that supply difference when it comes to the RE supply. Serral is practically maxed out, and Creator is struggling to match even half of the army supply of his opponent.
Yeah, again, unfortunately, Creator, he just kept losing his disruptors, kept losing his Archons as well, over his high-tech units, and he's just having a hard time remaxing, a hard time rebuilding what he has lost. Good split out of Serral.
The second they came out of split stasis, those roaches already split themselves up in anticipation to dodge a A Purification Nova. Finally, one Nova will land on a group of roaches, but it is far from enough. GG is called, and Serral will take down 2 players already from Team ABYDOS. If all he needs now is to win one more map, right?
Yeah, GG, well played. Serral with a powerful performance here, taking down both Protoss players, both Nightmare and Creator. And Creator, in that last game, unfortunate that he never came across that Spire. As a result, he was woefully unprepared for it, and he had a really awkward defense as a result. The Mutas just getting out of control, sniping so many high-tech units, and just creating this really awkward engagement for Creator to take. And with that, Serral did snowball into a victory. And now it comes down to one player. And I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Yaku, but I mean, it has to be Cure, right?
At this point, I would agree with you. Yeah, I would say that I would favor DRG over Cure specifically to take out Serral. But you have to remember now that ABYDOS is down to their final player. They cannot afford to drop even a single map here. DRG can take out Serral. I honestly see it. I honestly think it is very possible for DRG to take out Serral. But what about Raynor? What about Trigger? What if they throw a curveball and throw Roddy out there? I would say that Cure is definitely tested as having kind of that better stamina. He's proven himself, right, as being an all-killer in just the last season of WTL.
True.
He took out Kaisi Gaming. He took out Oliveira, Raynor, and was it... oh, God, who was that final player on Kaisi Gaming at the time? Spirit. There we go. Took out all 3 of them without dropping a single map there.
Yeah, Cure, he has all killed in WTL before. He needs to do it again. As you're mentioning, I kind of agree. I almost want to say that DRG has a better chance against Serral specifically, but they have to think like grander than that. They do have to think of the entire series as a whole. The entire lineup of Team Basilisk is still lying in wait, and ABYDOS, they have an even greater mountain to climb here. Cure or DRG will have a greater mountain to climb, so oh boy, it's a tough decision and a really tough position to be in.
Absolutely. One that I do not envy at all.
Yeah, exactly. And
the pressure is going to be on whoever shows out here.
It really is. Bearing in mind that we still have another matchup after this as well. And if Serral is able to pull off the all kill, I mean, Trigger and Raynor, they're going to be very well rested for on-site gaming, for Maru, for Solar, for Ryung, for Crank. They're going to be so ready for that.
I mean, if Serral all kills here, I'm not even sure if on-site are going to be ready in time. If Solo's still out on a hot date, Maru still at Subway, getting pictures taken of him from Gemini.
Yeah, it's not looking good here. It's looking a little bit bleak for ABYDOS Gaming, for Team ABYDOS, and I do hope they can bring it back. I mean, Cure is a phenomenal player. He is one of the best Terrans in the world. If anyone could do it, he can on Team ABYDOS. It's just, I'm sure they didn't want to put that pressure on Cure to begin with, right? I'm sure they didn't want to be in this situation where it's like, all right, buddy, you gotta just win every game, and it's like, he can do it. It's not.
You can do it. You got the power of the waifus.
True. Not wrong, Papi. Not wrong. Well, yes, we'll still have to wait, though. We'll still have to wait and see. Team ABYDOS are just still deciding on their next player, on who they do want to send out. I guess we shouldn't overlook DRG too much. He actually looked really impressive last night.
Yeah, very, very impressive. I mean, it's because of DRG that, ABYDOS didn't have to go into the revive match, right? He took out Oliveira 2-0. He took out Hero 1-0. Yeah, I believe that was his 2 matches that he played. But, yeah, he looked absolutely dominant in both of those in all 3 of those games that he played.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to DRG. It's because of him that Asher could sleep at a quote-unquote reasonable time.
He didn't go to bed after WTL.
He landed. He's an animal. But yes, that's also something to bear in mind, and that's also why I do think it's a little bit of a shame that that it's possible that he may not even be fielded. Again, like, I'm sure ABYDOS just did not expect Serral to be coming out first here for Team Basilisk, and it really just threw a wrench in the works.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm honestly, in hindsight now, I am a little bit surprised that Creator ended up being the choice to succeed Nightmare here instead of DRG, but I guess either he wasn't available or, because of his Gamers 8 performance, Creator was feeling pretty confident that he could take out Serral here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I was confident in him as well. But
that's what I.
Game 1
I thought
was
it would at least be a 1-1 here.
Yeah, for sure. I do think Game 1 was unfortunate. I do think that specifically that build, that opener that Creator went for in Game 1 just was not ideal against Serral specifically. I think he was hoping to have a little bit more of a surprise factor, but Serral, his scouting was so on point, and he saw it coming well ahead of time.
Yeah, he knew. He was watching replays. It happened to him one too many times when he played against Trigger. Trigger introducing the NA. Oh, pardon me. The NA lack of rules into the EU server via practice with Raynor and Serral.
There you go. To be fair, if it was Trigger, I'm sure he'd go full NA and he would go Colossus instead of Disruptor. He'd go for Colossus drops. But regardless, we have our player choice. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. ABYDOS, they're fielding. They are sending out Cure.
Yeah. The ace player on WTL drinking wine? I'll say it's wine.
Could be wine, could be coffee, could be like cold coffee.
Oh, I guess it is. I wasn't expecting that soundbite.
Double kill already. Can Serral get the triple? Can he get the all kill? He is close to it. And we heard his interview earlier. We saw him talk about Cure, how confident he is against him, how dominant he has been able to perform against Cure in the past. So, yeah, we'll see if there's any truth to that.
Yeah, indeed we shall. I'm pretty sure the statistics don't lie, though, do they? As we can see here, the win ratio over time, I think this is just in general and not specifically against each other, but yeah, even still, Serral is looking dominant here.
Yeah, if you remember, Serral, he only lost one game in WTL. That's why he's almost maxed out completely, but does...
Against Scarlet, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there you go. So we are getting ready. Game 1 is going to be taking place on Royal Blood.
Oh, there we go. Map that Cure is quite fond of, so see if this is enough to give him a little bit of a boost here. It's a reminder to everyone watching, Cure cannot afford to drop a single map from not just against Serral, but also against Trigger and Raynor.
Let's go.
Reverse all kill.
Yeah, let's go. This is where the comeback does need to happen. We need to bring it back here and now. If you're in the chat, the Terran player for ABYDOS, he does need your energy. He needs your support, and here he is in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, the ace player for Team ABYDOS Gaming, the blue Terran from South Korea. It is Cure.
And over here in the top right-hand corner, once again going for that 15 extractor trick, our red Zerg player for BASILISK, out for blood tonight, looking to make that all kill. He is Serral.
Very interesting indeed. You love to see it. The 15 hatch has become a little bit more popular here in this matchup for this very reason, for the Bjorn 2-Rax opener, which Cure has been very fond of.
Yeah. Not previously, but in the past couple of weeks, we have seen him throw it out religiously in TVZs.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't quite execute it the same way as Bjorn. Bjorn is very unpredictable. He's willing to 3-Rax, 4-Rax, 2-1-1, 3CC, 2-1-1. Bjorn is a lot more chaotic when it comes to like what he does follow up with it. Cure, a little bit more standard. This should only be 2-Raxes into 3 Reapers into a fast 3rd CC. That's typically what Cure has been going for off of this opener.
Yeah, I'm not sure if now would really be the time to try to go into something a little bit more chaotic, into something a little bit more unpredictable. Cure should just be going with his tried and true build his tried and true strategy here.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Serral reading this quite well. Of course, it didn't scout the opener across the map, but upon going for this 15-15, it does mean that he has a bit of a faster queen. It means the queens come out faster. It means he has faster access to lings as well. His gas is delayed as a result of this opener, but it is safer overall, and he should have enough to fend off the initial Reapers.
Yeah, especially if they are in position, if they are waiting in those Reaper ramps. Will he have enough, though, to keep his initial tumor alive?
He actually didn't make any lings. I'm a little bit surprised. The first drone is going to be forced to morph into a spore. The second drone as well. So a good amount of damage done so far. No kills, but lost resources and lost mining time.
And now we have the second Reaper coming in, and Cure feeling a little bit ballsy right now, trying to go toe-to-toe against one of these queens. Obviously, 2 Reapers not going to be enough to take it out.
Yeah, exactly. We only have 3 back at home. We are transitioning. Factory is on the way, and we should be seeing a third CC behind that as well, as Cure is dipping in towards the main. A lot of damage was already done to one of those queens. We do see him threaten the drones as well, but he doesn't quite get anything.
Yeah, every single drone of Serral survives. Obviously, like you were mentioning, he was forced to morph them into spore crawlers and then cancel them once again, but you know, it's not the biggest of deals here for the Zerg player if you can keep everything else alive.
Yeah, as that is a very fast lair from Serral that is going to be scattered. Cure does come across it back at home. He is going for a third CC, so Cure is going for that 3CC into a Banshee or into that Starport. So a very economic transition out of Cure, but Serral being very aggressive.
Yeah, I always get excited when I see Burrow on the production tab, and then it immediately gets cancelled here from Serral. But yeah, he wants to go to a very quick Goliath Constitution, or maybe Tunnel Claws as well, you know, if he does decide to get Burrow again later down the line. You never know.
Exactly. I mean, what's important is that this was scattered. Cure, upon seeing that fast lair, it could be 2-base Muta, it could be a 2-base Roach Warren. I believe the Roach Warren was not seen because it was hidden behind the mineral line, and Cure, he's spreading out his units, he's getting ready for a Nidus.
Yeah, that's the other possibility here with a very early lair, especially if not that many gases have been taken. I don't believe Cure has been able to get a scout on these gases, but this is a safe response no matter what your Zerg opponent throws at you.
Exactly. You know, Cure, he has a piece of the puzzle, but he doesn't know entirely what Serral is up to, so he's just trying to prepare for whatever could be coming out off of this lair opener. We can see Serral is throwing down double Evo chambers, so he's actually transitioning. He's not committing to any kind of all-in. He is saturating his third base behind this.
Yeah, so not going for an all-in, like you mentioned, just looking to get some early game aggression if he sees the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have if he didn't get scattered, right? But, I mean, he knows that Cure got into the main base. He knows that the Reapers did see that fast lair, so he's going for a more tentative approach here, a more tempered approach with these Roaches. Cure is pushing out. This is lined up with Stim.
Yeah, and this isn't the biggest, most threatening force in the world. It is designed primarily just to clear up creep and to set up a bit of an easier pathway here for the eventual timing attack. 2 E-base are on the way, as well as combat shield and tank reduction.
Yeah, exactly. Do have those upgrades. Roaches are going to be able to fend off the initial marine drop here from Cure. Is going to rotate over towards the center and again just keep the pressure on his opponent. Serral likewise trying to figure out what Cure is up to by going for that scout, coming in from behind that main base.
It doesn't really see much out of the ordinary here. He should be feeling pretty safe to just react to these drops, defend against these drops, and just play out his normal game. You love to see the contamination. Well, at least our players do. I can tell you, it's one of the biggest fears that I have as a Terran player.
Yeah, very underutilized, but you love to see that contamination. Serral being a little bit greedy here, taking his 4th base as the gold even on the left-hand side. Very risky move, very greedy, but so far it is unscattered as Cure is more concerned with dropping into the main with trying to find some economic damage.
Yeah, little does he know that if he wants economic damage, he should be going to the far left corner of this map.
Exactly, a hatchery is looking very juicy over there as Kira's getting ready. I appreciate this. He's even getting a turret in between his bases. You were talking yourself about tunneling claw of roaches, so he's a little bit paranoid about that in case that does come out. So he will have detection covering the entryway into his main and into his natural.
Yeah, just in case. He has the tank set up, ready to intercept on anything as well. So, yeah, Kira just wants to be as safe as possible. He's going to need to pull the trigger pretty soon, though, as that golden base did just get up for Serral. He is now starting to mine from it, and pretty soon we're about to see him explode when it comes to the income.
Yeah, exactly. Still unscattered. Kira sending a force over towards the left-hand side, but the roaches are there to intercept. Kira is going to be forced back here, and Serral so far is keeping that gold base hidden. Not just that, but Serral, he can push into the mineral line.
Yeah, the tanks are very far away. Cure is forced to lift up and evacuate every single one of his SCVs, being able to drop over on the other side of the map. Comes in, Cure scratching his head a little bit here, wondering, wait, why don't you have a fourth base yet here? He's got to know it. This has got to be a tell.
Yeah. But at least the base is on the left-hand side. Whether it's the gold or the top left, he's still unsure of himself. As he is diving into the main base, he's going to catch potentially a couple of roaches here. Gets eyes on the infestation pit as well.
Yeah, so he knows that Serral is teching up hard, and he does have the economy to sustain that tech. Nice bits of damage here, getting 9 drones. Not losing too many of his infantry either.
Yeah, very good target firing coming out from Cure. At the same time, we see the Bile zoning him away, but the SimCity, the tank positioning a little bit too good. Cure is going to be able to hold him at the same time, dropping once again into that main base, looking for even more drone kills.
This is stuff you can get away with when your Zerg opponent doesn't have any anti-air other than Queens.
Yeah, no Hydras, no Spire, no Mutas, very few Queens. Several, though, still being hyper-aggressive with this Roach Ravager army. We do see Cure trying to reposition himself, trying to at least regain control of his third.
Yeah, he sees the little bits of roaches over there and thinks better of it.
Yeah, and Cure, he's stuck on a 2-base economy for so long, he just hasn't been able to mine from this CC. He needs to desperately. Meanwhile, Serral, he's maxed.
Indeed, he is. He's going to be pushing in a little bit, taking a couple of tank shots to the face, which he is more than willing to. You know, he needs to start trading away some of these roaches now to get, by the looks of things, Ling Bane, which trade a little bit more efficiently against Bio Marine, or Tank Marine, sorry.
We do have that Ling Bane transition. 2-2 is about to kick in a couple of seconds. Serral, he's looking to hit this timing.
And this is a very strong defensive position from Cure. The Biles will start landing on top of the tanks and on top of some of the Marines as well. So getting nice little bits of damage here. A tank here or there, a little bit of bio. He knows that whatever roaches he loses here is more than acceptable as long as he is, you know, getting rid of tanks, getting rid of preventing mining, getting rid of Marines as well.
Yeah, as you mentioned, preventing mining is the most important thing right now. Just containing Cure to a 2-base economy means that Serral, he can remax, he can rebuild, and he's in no danger of a counterattack because Cure cannot max out. Meanwhile, Cure continuing to drop on the right-hand side is just finding very little, and Serral has successfully gotten away with murder. He's gotten away with this gold-based mining for so long. Finally, he gets scouted.
And you couldn't see much reaction there from Cure, but if you looked into his soul, you could see the head shake.
You can see the smudge here as Serral has full map control. His economy is insane. His army is insane as well. Cure finally mining on 3 bases. At this point, desperately needs a 4th as well. But at the moment, he can't really take that chance. He can't really take that expansion.
Yeah, it's 3 bases, quote unquote. I'll say the one silver lining here for Cure is that Serral himself hasn't really been able to get a 5th base. Obviously, getting the gold base might as well be being on... getting a gold base as your 4th might as well be having 5 bases. But yeah, Serral himself is mining out a little bit.
He is. Meanwhile, good Baneling connections with that bio army here from Serral. As he's trading out those Roaches and Ravagers, he is remaxing on Ling Bane instead. So he's refining his army. He's got Vipers as well. Ultra Cavern is done. 5th base is now up towards the top left. He's got a 6th on the way in the center of the map. So again, Serral is not resting on his laurels. He's got +3 on the way, even kind of splating.
Yeah, once those Ultras pop out, that should just about be the final nail in the coffin. Cure trying to bait a couple more trying to bait Serral into pushing into him once again, but I think it's going to be costing him more than he's going to be able to trade. 2 of his tanks go down for a chunk of roaches. Not sure if that was worth it here for Terran.
Yeah, once again, the tanks caught a little bit out of position. 2 of them do go down once again to the biles of Serral's army. And as the tank count gets thinned out, that does slow down, or that does kind of hinder the pushing power of this army. Viper's getting ready to dive in as well. The Vikings, though, are going to be slowing them down, are going to be zoning them away.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a couple of Vikings here just to deal with the Vipers. You don't see that too often, but I'm worried that 5 Vikings may be a little overkill.
Well, so I mean, at least Cure is gaining ground. He doesn't kill any workers, but he gets the base. He does take down that gold. He's now going to be rotating over towards the center base as well. Cure now has a pretty formidable army.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was able to scan into the main base of Serral, or if he just figured that at this point he needs to upgrade his army a little bit, because now he has a couple of Liberators. Now he is throwing a couple of Marauders into the mix. This is not a great place to retreat, though, if you're Cure. Things are looking pretty good initially, but with those Baneland connections, Cure is beaten all the way back. He is starting to smudge a little in camera.
Yeah, exactly. The full surround was real. Serral, he collapses on the army of Cure. GG gets called, and Serral takes game number 1.
And that's it, right? I mean, I guess technically Cure can win another map here and take out Serral, but
there is still a revive. Regardless of how the series goes, there is still a revive available. But as you were saying, this does mean that they will at least take each other out, which would be great and all, but in that revive match, if he wins, the revive is still available. Even if Serral 2-0s, there's still a chance here to bring someone else back and for them to go on a tear.
Yeah. But they're going to be needing a miracle there, because obviously they have to go. They would have to face back-to-back Trigger and Raynor, and then possibly Serral again in a revive match. So much easier said than done.
Yeah, exactly. As that was just a rough game there for Cure. Serral mixing things up quite heavily here was so intriguing. He stayed on 2 bases a little bit longer. He rushed into that lair. He faked out his opponent a little bit by using the lair only for upgrades, as he got his 3rd base up running, was a little bit more defensive instead. And we saw that the drop play of Cure really wasn't able to do too much. Serral was able to keep up for the most part, and he got away with murder. He got away with that gold.
Yeah, despite not getting any anti-air early on, Serral was still able to keep up with all those drops. He was doing such a good job of hiding that gold base as well, or rather hiding the fact that he took the gold base as well. He was being very active on that side of the map, and now here we have it. Everything is set up here for Dragon Scales. Cure needs to win this to put down the monster that is Serral, and then maybe give his team a little bit of hope going into the rest of this series. If not, then, well, he'll have a revive, but it's going to be tough. Here we have it on Dragon Scales in the bottom right-hand corner. We have our Blue Terror player representing ABYDOS. He is Cure.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Team Basilisk, looking for that all kill. He's looking unstoppable. It is Serral.
Completely looks unfazed.
Unfazed. He's taken down a Nightmare Creator, almost the entirety of the roster here of Team ABYDOS. Can anyone stop this man? I do believe that Cure can, and this is his map choice. He is feeling confident on Dragon Scales. A bit of a smaller map here. You can be a little bit more aggressive on a map like Dragon Scales as well.
Indeed you can, and that's kind of what Cure is hoping for. We could see it a little bit on Royal Blood. He did really like to be active with those drops. He did, I mean, pretty early on, he lined up a double drop with Stim, hoping to get a couple of drones, hoping to, set himself up for a bit of an easier 1-1 timing once he had tanks down the line. But Serral, he was just able to beat him every single time, really using the choke points and the corners and ramps available to him to his advantage. Now, it's not as easy to pull off here on Dragon Scales, defensively anyway, compared to Royal Blood.
Yeah, and Serral also kind of playing with his image a little bit, and he's been doing this, I feel like, all year, maybe the past year entirely, including last year, where Serral has been willing to be more aggressive, more quote-unquote cheesy at times. He isn't just the macro monster that he has been known to be in years past. He is willing to spice things up, and we saw that last game with that fast lair. You know, he's willing to be more aggressive, and maybe Cure wasn't really expecting that. Maybe that did kind of throw him off a little bit and throw him off tempo.
Yeah, I would definitely imagine so. I mean, you never really think of Serral as being a player who likes to go for some of these mind games, right? Who likes to fake out his opponent that much. It's either, if you scout that early lair from Serral, he's utilizing it. He has a plan for it, right? Well, yes, but not the plan but not the obvious plans that you might be thinking of.
Yeah, Serral's going for a very different reaction at this time. Did go for a hatch gas pool, is going for his third base. He's not delaying, he's not staying on 2 bases the way that he did in the previous game. So this does mean that Cure can be a little bit more aggressive and maybe snowball a little bit harder with these Reapers as he dives into the mineral line, doesn't quite get the drone.
Yeah, once again, very, very immaculate reaction time scout out from Serral. So quick to turn into the Spore Crawler and then just cancel it before it finishes.
Yeah, as the Reapers dip into the main, that was spotted by the Overlord. Speaking of Overlords, Serral, he confirms the 3cc opener of Cure, or the 3cc follow-up, as once again, 2 games in a row, Cure is going for an economic transition out of this initial 2 racks.
Yeah, he might as well. You know, he's not as chaotic as somebody like Beyond, like you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he likes it, he makes it work. He definitely does make it work with it. Does take down that tumor.
But it wasn't the first tumor, so Serral still has a chance.
He's going to be able to hold on to his mental, as again, Serral did confirm and scout the entire main base, so nothing too crazy out of Cure. Serral looking for some counter damage, looking to maybe try to catch these Reapers, but no, he is unable to, as Cure does slip past, and he is going to be able to, you know, just chill out here on these 2 bases for now.
Now, this wall is a wall, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, as Cure is going for something a little bit more aggressive here. So with this 3cc 2-on-1, he's making Hellions, as to be expected, but he's also got a Liberator on the way as well. So he does want to be active on the map. He does want to attempt to harass his opponents. These Marines should shoo away this Overlord, and they're going to be hiding the fact that there is a Liberator in production.
Yeah, Serral hasn't scouted the starport yet, but he should know the starport is on the way. Typically, though, it's not a Liberator first that comes out. It's a Medevac, or it's a Viking, or sometimes you swap the add-ons around to go for Banshees.
Yeah, exactly. So Cure's trying to hide this little opener that he's going to be going for. Back at home, Serral's just going for his third base. Looks like Liberator does reveal itself. He's looking to get secure damage by getting that Overlord at least. And now Cure is being active with his Hellions, with his Reapers. We'll see if he can find any damage, as Serral does have Lings on the way.
Yeah, and Lings will be able to outpace the Hellions, but with the addition to KDA charge here from the Reapers of Cure, I don't think he's going to be too worried about them.
Yeah, and we shouldn't see him throw these units away either. I think we both witnessed that Cure, he's willing to preserve these Hellions and use them for the later push instead. They have a lot of value. They can provide a lot of support to your eventual tank push, so he's just going to be dipping and diving, just delaying the creep.
Yeah, not dipping too far deep into creep, just keeping around the edges.
Yeah, exactly, as we do have the double jump moving out as well. Stim is done here for Cure, so his Marines do they do have quite a punch to them, looking to try to deny some of these bases, but Serral is double expanding.
Yeah, he knows that either way, he is going to be getting base up and running. It's poor Liberator, man. Just wanted to siege up somewhere and get some damage, but no. Queens are going to force it away.
Ooh, at the same time, there's a Ling run by. It looks like 4 SCVs are going to be going down. Cure is losing workers across the map. At the same time, Liberators go in. The Hellions get a couple more workers. Both players are on par here, just losing some workers.
Oh, yeah, it's a little bit more lost mining time here for Serral, but all in all, yeah, pretty even amount of damage.
Exactly, as it looks like Cure doesn't lose too much. He at least preserves his army. He gets back to mining back at home as well, working on his 1-1 upgrades, working on that armory as well to morph in those Hellbats once the Hellions are saved. But Serral didn't lose any of his bases, just a couple of workers.
Yeah, just a couple here and there. He's already recovered, and yeah, it's pretty far ahead in when it comes to the worker count against Cure. These Hellions and Reapers will finally be going down, but it will be shaving off the link count a little bit. Now these drones are looking very exposed.
Yeah, Cure, he finds a way into the main base. He gets a queen, he gets some lings. He's focusing down that spawning pool as well. It's getting very low.
Interesting choice here from Cure. Not going to be able to take it out, obviously, but he does force a massive reaction from Serral as this double tank push is about to siege up right on top of Serral's 5th. 1-1 is about to finish for Cure as well. And Bailings aren't out yet, I've just noticed.
Yeah, we have a couple of slow Bailings out, but no Bailing speed. Unfortunately, the Hellions went down, so even though the armory is done, we don't have any Hellbats to support this army. The base will fall, but the Lings, they dive on top of the tanks.
And it should be able to make short work of them, especially with the friendly fire. Like so. Great Bailing steps coming out from Cure, though. And all of a sudden, these Lings are in a lot of trouble. I don't think Cure has enough to really keep this going, but yeah, he is forcing a reaction out of Serral. This double drop can actually get quite a bit done now.
Yeah, exactly, as he is cleaning up more of these drones, denying bases. He got a kill on that hatchery. Is going to be forced to pick up Serral. He will defend, but he did sustain some losses.
Yeah, not a bad start here for Cure at all. He can't be resting on his laurels too much, though. He did not do game-ending damage just yet, so he is going to be setting up for round 2. Going to be rotating around and attacking the other 5th base location.
Yeah, that was just spotted by a spotter Ling of Serral, so he's fully aware that there's an army coming towards the left-hand side of the map. His Ling Bane is getting ready. Baneling speed is now done. He's coming in from behind, looking to dive on top of that tank.
And that is exactly what happens. The tank will not be able to get the second volley off. And now that Bane speed is done, Serral's making short work of this Terran army. The supplies are technically even, but do keep in mind that Cure supply is a little bit, army supply anyway, is a little bit inflated by the medevacs.
Yeah, and again, that was just not the angle that Cure was ready for. Losing that first tank was devastating, and Cure is forced back. Serral, he finally gets his 5th base up and running. It's something that he was struggling to do earlier, but now he does have it, and now that creep is getting a little bit out of control. Cure, he did just lose a lot of momentum.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if he's going to be able to keep this up. Now, obviously, we've seen him do it in the previous game, where with his drops, he was just able to bounce between the bases and keep Serral on his toes. Serral didn't really have that much trouble swatting him away, though, with roaches. But if Cure tightens things up, that could be a bit more effective this time.
Yeah, we can see that Cure still does want to be active on the map, still moving out with these Marines, but there's plenty of Ling Bane out here. He does have to be very careful not to be trapped, not to take those Banelings to the face.
I mean, at this point, he has to be active on the map, right? He's not getting he's only now finishing up a 4th base. He knows that despite taking out the 5th base of Serral, he has been able to retake that much more recently.
And now Serral is working on his Hive Tech. Burrow is on the way as well, so we can watch out for some burrowed Banelings, which we did see, of course, last night out of a laser. Cure is focusing on his major push, though. He is bringing all of his tanks forward. He's committing so much here to this attack.
And it's about as good of time as any to push in if you're Cure. 2-2 just finished up. The upgrades are even, but Serral is already setting up for a 360 surround.
He has Ling Bane everywhere. Oh my, he's looking to collapse on this army from every single angle, and here we go. Serral, he pulls the trigger.
Yeah, Cure maybe a bit too spread out when it comes to his Marines. Tanks are going to be able to get their volleys on the Banelings. Reinforcements are coming in right now, and Cure has enough to keep this going.
Serral left his army back. Whoa. You can see there, he didn't come in with everything. He had Ling Bane waiting towards the south, and Serral did not come in with it.
He was distracted by the Liberator. Maybe, I'm not sure. He was distracted by something.
Yeah, I mean, 12 workers have gone down. Looks like we got some decent connections here, but Cure is pushing through. He's getting damage done.
Yeah, so many drones have fallen right now for Serral. Serral recognizes that he had this army in the map, middle of the map doing nothing, and now is trying to find a use for them, but I think it's too little too late. If he can get a connection on this mineral line, then that would be huge.
Yeah, as he loses 2 hatcheries across the map, it looks like the mineral line is going to go down. The SCVs are exposed. 18 already falling. Good quick reaction out of Kira, minimizing some of those losses, but 22 SCVs go down. Kira does at least hold on to both of his bases.
Yeah, he can start to remake those SCVs. He is on 4 bases total versus the 4 of Serral. But Serral, he's had enough. He doesn't want to remake his drones. He's making nothing but Lings, Banes, and even getting adrenal glands. Because, fun fact, he got a hive behind all of this. Or during all of this.
He did get that hive, but he wasn't able to make use of it. He wasn't able to make use of those Vipers as they are now on the way. Drop dives into the main base. Looks like Serral should have enough to defend, but Cure, he is keeping up here with his opponent. Actually, he hasn't been making SCVs. After losing all of his workers earlier, he has not rebuilt them.
We're all in versus all in. Serral obviously in a bit of a better economic position than Cure, but it does also mean that his RB supply will suffer a little bit because of it. Cure doing such a good job of sniping the Banelings over here, utilizing the SimCity to such a great advantage. Cure is also consolidating his forces. Can he go for one final major push?
Yeah, exactly. That's what he has to do. I am really concerned. There we go. 4 SCVs are now in production. Cure now recognizes that he doesn't have the best worker count, so he's going to try and rebuild it. I think it was an oversight earlier, and that can hurt him here in the long run, just because he's going to have a hard time remaxing and rebuilding from these losses. But here we go. He's pushing in on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I think he has recognized that he's also dealt enough damage to Serral that he doesn't really need to go all in anymore, right?
Yeah, but another Ling run by is going to take down some reinforcements, takes down the sensor tower as well, so Cure isn't going to have as much foresight when it comes to these attacks over at that base. He's setting up quite well there, pushing towards that hatchery. He has a lot of Liberators, a lot of tanks.
Yeah, he's being so patient with this push. He needs to be careful not to, not to get too deep in on this. The last thing you really want is to have those Banelings come in for a flank and connect with everything just like so.
Exactly.
Just like so.
The Ling Bane came in from behind. There was no way out. Only one tank with the army, and the Blinding Clouds did cover it. And now Cure has to turn back around again. He still doesn't really have the best economy. He made those 4 SCVs. He hasn't made any more, by the way. He did not go back into making workers.
Well, he made those 4 SCVs to make up for the 4 SCVs that were lost to the borrowed Lings. After that, he realized 47, ideal number. It's fantastic. It's 69 minus 12. Wait.
And
minus 22.
With that, basically, Cure is all in. He's all in with this army, pushing through the center of the map, looking to try to lay siege upon some of these bases. He is clearing up a lot of this creep at least, but he's giving Serral a lot of time to remax.
He really is. Serral doesn't have the best bank right now, but he's remade his drone count. He is in a much better economic position. All he needs to do right now is survive. He needs to survive the final hurrah here of Cure, and Serral will essentially win the series and practically all kill. I mean, he wouldn't have done it yet, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, Cure, his economy was already crippled, and now it's just almost non-existent. He's down to 35 SCVs. The third base is not mining. The Ling Bane is getting ready for another big surround. Cure is threatening another one of these bases, but here we go. Serral, he commits.
Yeah, the Vipers are coming in. They do have some fantastic yoinks. Tanks go down, and Liberators do survive, but while Liberators are great at supporting tanks, they're not that good on their own.
They really are not, and it looks like Cure was able to weather the first push, but Serral, he can back off. He can afford to lose his hatchery as well. He has retaken top right. He doesn't have to overcommit here to saving this base, as Cure is slowly pushing forward. Ling Bane getting ready. The Vipers are getting ready to come in from behind as well.
And it's obviously a pretty mined-out base already. Serral's more than willing to lose that base if it means just stopping the entire army of Cure. He does need to be careful, though. Cure is slowly and surely getting more and more tanks in position. Once we get a solid, 3, yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher for Serral.
And here we go, Serral, he comes in from behind, once again gets on top of the tanks, avoids those Liberators, and he's looking for those connections. The splits are good, but we just lost so much. Serral, he can back off, remax, rebuild. Cure, he can only end the game with this army. He can't really rebuild.
Yeah, the only thing I can really see Cure doing right now to win is to literally snipe every single Baneling somehow. But I'm not seeing it, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's too likely, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and here we go. Once again, we have the Yoinks on the Liberators this time. There's only one tank, and it's going to go down instantly. There's just not enough bio on the ground. And Serral is looking to all-kill. He is looking to clean up ABYDOS.
This was probably the closest game that Serral has had so far tonight, but it is going to be a victory nonetheless. GG is called, and Serral just needs to win literally one more. He needs to win one more map against a zombie in order to all-kill tonight and deliver Basilisk into those grand finals.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. GG, very well played. As you did mention, that was a lot closer, and there was definitely potential with Kyr's push, especially on the left-hand side, when we saw that Serral didn't quite get the surround that he wanted, did forget one of his prongs, and wasn't able to collapse on or clean up Kyr's army the way that he was hoping to. So that was quite back and forth, but we saw that Kyr was very committed. He was very all-in, cut worker production very early on. Despite being on 4 bases, he wasn't really looking for the game to proceed. Wanted to end it then and there, and just barely couldn't.
Yeah, barely couldn't. Almost did, but barely couldn't. Yeah, I feel like if a Cure threw in a couple of Vikings into the mix, like he did on Royal Blood, right, to zone away the Vipers, that would have pretty much secured him those engagements, because multiple times, as they usually are, those Vipers were the absolute MVP for Serral.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they really were. Every time they came in, they either blinding clouded some of the tanks, they abducted the Liberators, they threw down parasitic bombs. At every turn, at every time, they were just adding so much value to that army of Serral, making it that much easier to clean up Kyr time and time again. And now, ABYDOS, they have to make a really tough decision. They're in the worst position possible here. They've lost all their players. They're not out of it yet. They do have a revive available. They can revive one of their players, or even send out DRG if they wish.
I think it's time. I think it's time for the one true Dong to shine.
The one true Dong. Dong Regu, is he going to come out here? Is he going to come out for his team? Or do we revive Cure? Do we revive Creator? Do we bring back one of our fallen heroes?
Well, I think the last thing that ABYDOS really wants to do right now is to revive Cure. I mean, we could see it in the camp towards the end there. It's not often we see Cure break his poker face, but there was a little bit of a head tilt. He was a little bit tilted coming into that, and I'm sure he was thinking that Dragon Scales was his best shot at taking out Serral. And so the fact that he wasn't quite able to deliver there is going to be weighing on his mind. I think I would say that Creator isn't a great choice to go up against Serral specifically for similar reasons, not really being able to deliver on altitude, his map pick, which he thought was going to be the best shot to bring him down. Mm-hmm. But I think during that final set, Cure versus Serral, he maybe has had a little bit of time to reflect, has had a little bit of time to come up with a plan here. I honestly think DRG would be the best choice at this point, but if he's not available, then maybe Creator.
That's the thing. Like, if he is available, I would love to send out DRG. I think it would be a great way to even go out, just to feature all of your players and give them all a chance to compete and to fight against Serral. I do think that'd be a great way to go out even in a blaze of glory. But yeah, it is a tough decision to make.
What's this? Mondo's coming in with the steel chair.
Mondo's coming in, and who's that on the camps? Jinio's with him, Quanta as well. They're all there behind him, giving him his energy, giving him their support.
Are in the crowd with the cheerfuls.
The anime waifus have arrived. I guess it is technically possible. We could see Mondo. I would love to. I'd personally love to. Could see SOS. He is another option as well.
He is, isn't he?
I know we haven't been mentioning him too much, and he has played in WTL this season, but not too many games.
Yeah, unfortunately hasn't been the most active after coming back from military service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, unlike players like Hero and unlike players like Classic, SOS hasn't really kind of gone back to his former glory. He's not quite at that level that he once was.
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't been able to get back into into hype killer status.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I didn't get to mention it because we went straight into the series, but shout out to some raids that we've gotten over the course of this broadcast as well, to Babylings, to J-Dolph, the Dolph himself, who did raid us earlier, so thank you. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate it.
Big hearts coming down. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, you're on top of me, not next. Okay. We couldn't do the,
Oh, right, sorry.
Whichever.
We can't quite do it. It doesn't work out, Bobby. It doesn't work out.
Wait.
But
okay, I can't do it to the left side. Is the thing.
Shaky my head. It's we're not lined up. We're not horizontal. What are you doing? It's the Yaku.
Well, could we then,
Don't worry about it.
When you,
Este Yaku. Also, sorry, I actually haven't been looking at the stream yet. I'm just now seeing your green screen, or your attempted green screen. It's looking better than I thought it would. It's not too bad. Yeah.
You see, you got the W, you got the T, you got the L.
There you go. Is it possible to cover the bookshelf in any way, or is that not a thing?
I could push the bookshelf back, but
okay.
It's a heavy bookshelf.
Don't try it. It's okay. Don't hurt yourself, Poppy. Don't hurt yourself.
It's also water damaged. So,
Jennifer, is it green screen or practical effects?
This is actually a mural I painted. I painted it myself.
Paint is a very strong word. You did use paint.
Technically true, yeah.
There you go. Did happen.
Oh, look at that. It's like I'm touching the mural. You can see the contours, or you can I can trace the contours.
Beautiful.
As we do have confirmation here. Cure is going to be revived immediately, despite just losing his match. He has had a couple of minutes to reflect and get refreshed. And he is feeling it. As a reminder to everyone, not only will he have to take down... That's a soundbite. Not only will he have to take down Serral, who is on that killing spree, he will also have to 2-0 Rainer, he will have to 2-0 Trigger, and then potentially take out Serral again in a rematch.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, Serral, he's actually looking a little bit fatigued. He's looking a little bit tired, and I don't blame him. He has been playing a lot. He's been taking down a lot of players here, and hopefully he still has some more in the tank to bring down another Terran. As you were saying, Cure is coming out, a bold choice, because the starting map is Altitude.
Here we go. Serral wins this one map. He will have all killed and pretty much secured playoffs MVP as well as group stage MVP here for himself, as that is a little bit of a reward that our players have.
ABYDOS versus
Award.
BASILISK Game 4， 就让比赛开始吧。
ABS, of course, anagram of BAS, as we can see there. Anagram? No.
And here we go. We're diving into the revive match. He needs your support. He needs your energy in the chat to force the reverse all kill. And in the top right-hand corner of Altitude, we have the South Korean Terran player. It is Cure.
And over here in the bottom left-hand corner of a map, our red Zerg player representing Basilisk, annoyed that it took this long for the opponent to send out a player. He is Serral.
I don't blame Cure for just needing a moment to himself. And oh my god, here we go. We're spicing things up by going for some proxy Rexes.
Everything is on the line right now for ABYDOS, and Cure decides, why the hell not? This is the time. I need to really shake things up because my normal strategy of, going for that 2 racks isn't going to work out. And strangely enough, this may be the one game that Serral just misses the scout.
Yeah, we have the Overlord moving on out here, but the second one is going to be staying outside the natural, which means he will have eyes on the SCVs as they come in for some bunkers. 3rax is very committed. You can transition out of it, but you are looking for some damage as the SCVs are ideally going to be held back. They're ideally being held. Yeah, they're ideally going to be hidden here. You want to try and hide the 3 SCVs to try to trick Serral into believing it's a 2rax instead of a 3rax.
Yeah. Saw the SCV move back for a second. I was convinced that it was going to be building another barracks, but no, not quite yet. Kurosawa pulling the trigger, and Serral is, he's got to be shaking his head.
Yeah, there we go. Initially, 2 SCVs are revealed. The third one is kept in the back line as all boys are being pulled. This is how you react to a 2rax. The goal here from Serral is to try to deny these bunkers from finishing, but there are a lot of Marines, and the third SCV reveals itself.
Yeah, Serral realizes now that he needs to commit a little bit more to this. He needs to get rid of the bunker even. It's more important than ever to even get rid of the bunker. Nice target firing and starter stepping coming out from Cure, but is it going to be enough to overcome the sheer numbers of Serral? The bunker should just about finish, but will the Marines even be able to get into it? Potentially.
Yeah, once again, really good kiting coming out from Cure as he takes down 6 of those drones. The bunker is done. The Marines are looking to dive in as well, and with the completion of this bunker, he can try to take control of the natural base. The Spinecrawler still has a lot of HP. The Queen has arrived. Can Serral clean this up?
Yeah, well, he's going to be able to get rid of the bunker at least, and the Spinecrawler will survive. Things are looking very shaky ever since the final SCV got taken out and wasn't able to really repair that bunker. There is still a bit of a chance here for Cure, but Serral has already dealt with the worst of it. You know, he knows that he can relax a little bit, and Cure is going to be much, much weaker now compared to the start of the game.
Yeah, even though, like, Cure, he did get a lot of worker kills. He did kill a lot of drones. As a result, he has an economic lead. But with 2 hatcheries, Serral, he can transition out of this. He can just macro out of this quite easily here. Right now, he's just focused on surviving. Good transfuse on that Spinecrawler. A second Spinecrawler is thrown down.
Yeah, you mentioned that Cure has that economic lead, but he already decided that he wants to be 1 base all in here. An economic advantage is kind of the least impactful advantage you can get in this scenario.
Yeah, exactly, as he does take down that Spinecrawler, but it took a lot of Marines to make that happen. Not the best trade for Cure here. The Queens all survived. He is making SCVs, and he is throwing down the CC back at home.
Like so. Not a bad transition here for Cure, since he was able to take out a lot of drones, but I don't think this is really gonna last.
Yeah, like, as you said, right, like, because of all the workers that were killed, Cure, he's not in the worst position here. He did do enough economic damage to give him that bit of a lead, but now we can see Serral just droning heavily, taking his gases, working on link speed as well. Cure still has some catching up to do, especially considering that he hasn't thrown down a factory yet.
Oh. Yeah, he hasn't even lifted up and replaced his barracks is back home either.
Yeah. He's just continuing to bomb out more and more Marines. He's looking for that map control. He does shave off a good amount of links here, as now he is making his way back home.
There we go. This is more of what we expect after you're not able to end the game with your 3rax. Cure actually losing more resources than Serral here, interestingly enough.
Yeah, a lot of Marines did fall. We can see Cure being so greedy as well, going for his 3rd CC before factory even. So he only has these vanilla Marines to defend. He is quite exposed, but I'm loving that he's cutting corners here because it looks like he should be able to get away with it.
Yeah, he knows that as long as he keeps his Marines patrolling, he should be able to catch these Lings. Now that link speed is done, though, Serral can try to be a bit more aggressive, can just try to jump on top of these little clumps of Marines.
Yeah, exactly. A good catch here by Serral, but there were more Marines here on top of the ramp. Cure is going to be able to hold on. Again, he gets away with delaying that factory. It is going to delay his starport. It does mean that Cure can't really be too aggressive with Hellions or Banshees or anything like that. But again, he was more concerned with establishing his natural.
Indeed. And a natural is now established. It is now an orbital command. Cure knows that because he has an economic advantage, but is at a tech deficit, he has to throw down everything. Stim is now being pumped up. Double eBay is on the way. Starport is halfway done.
like if Serral had reacted with like a Roach Warren and gone for an all-in as the follow-up, then he probably would have killed Cure. But just because of how greedy he was, you know, delaying his production, delaying his tech for so long, going for that fast third. But as we can see, because Serral was making or going for a more tame approach, Cure has gotten away with quite a lot, and yeah, he should be pretty safe back at home. And SCV goes down, but only one worker.
Yeah. And as we all know, SCVs are the worst worker unit in the game. So losing one SCV is negligible.
Exactly. As we see Serral trying to catch up, he's going for a lair as well, getting his third base saturated. Things are going to be slowing down. Things are going to be calming down from this point. It's also going to take a while for Cure to be active on the map, just because of the lack of starport. But the Overlord dips in, and Serral does at least confirm the timing of the third.
Yeah, he knows that he's not going to have to worry about any major follow-ups coming here from Cure. He himself has a little bit of catching up to do, finishing up his third base, and there we go. Now starts his fourth base. Needs to make sure he is able to defend it, though, so he is getting his Baneless out of the way. And a decent number of Zerglings as well.
Yeah, this sim timing is going to be a little bit brutal. I'm curious how much Serral is going to have to defend against this first drop push. A stim is now done. A lot of creep is being cleaned up. At least Cure isn't threatening the bases. He's just looking for some map control.
Yeah, just cleaning creep, setting himself up for the mid game.
Exactly, as Serral is quick to respread that creep in the center of the map. We have Lings in production, double expanding as well to try to catch up and try to take his own economic lead as well. But Cure, he's still being very active here with a couple of forces. He has a double jump over on the left-hand side, and I think he has another force over on the right as well.
He does, as a matter of fact, of Hellions. I didn't even notice he made Hellions earlier on.
Yeah, he's got those Hellions just to apply some pressure over on the right-hand side. It looks like Cure is reinforcing with another double drop over on the left, so that is kind of being fortified quite a bit here for Cure. He's going to have quite a lot active soon on the map. As Serral is still kind of backing off and droning up as well. Things are kind of taking a passive approach as finally Cure is pushing out with his drop play.
Yeah, Stim does finish up, 1-1 not too far behind. Cure can now start to be very aggressive on the map, and we'll see if Serral has enough units to really split between his bases and deal with it.
Yeah, Serral went for a much more defensive approach here. He went for a faster lair, which meant faster bailing speed. He delayed his 1-1 in favor of being safe with that upgrade. With that, he's going to have much more potent Ling Bane available, and he should be safe. Obviously, he can't hold on to all these creep tumors, but he shouldn't quite lose the hatchery as the queens are in position as well.
Yeah, creep tumors at this point, they're negligible.
Yeah, they are decent. Wouldn't mind shot on some of those Lings, but we have more Lings waiting in the main base. The drop does not get in.
And those medevacs are going to be a little bit stranded. Oh, a little bit of a missight here from Serral will allow Cure to drop and unload his entire triple medevac count here. A couple of drones will go down, but Cure will be beaten back once again.
Very nice target firing, getting those 4 workers. We can see another drop active here, just denying as much creep as possible, trying to keep Serral at bay. As Serral is going for Ling Bane, Hydra is going for much faster anti-air this time, and I think he has recognized just how active Cure is being with all these drops.
It's his first time this entire evening we see him going for the Hydra Den, but it does make a lot of sense. Like you said, he needs a little bit of anti-air other than Queens to deal with the drops, and because he knows that Widow Mines are on the table here, Hydralisk will be a pretty beefy unit to soak up that damage if need be.
Yeah, definitely good drags there from Serral. Does avoid the majority of those Widow Mine shots and is able to clean them up once again as well. So far Serral has been able to keep up with the drop play. Cure has cleaned up a lot of creep though, and he is not slowing down with his aggression. Is he looking though? Up!
He is not, at least not initially. He will be taking a massive Banelin connection to the face, and all of a sudden, a lot of momentum has been halted here for Cure.
Yeah, he wasn't looking, Papi, and now suddenly Serral, he needs less to defend over on the right-hand side. We can see Cure still fortifying or reinforcing over towards the left, looking to threaten those bases, but so far he hasn't really gotten into a mineral line. He hasn't really been able to threaten these hatcheries quite yet. Oh.
Yeah, but here we go. Nice drags once again coming out from Serral. The split-second breakaways with these Lings is a lot more difficult to pull off than it seems on screen.
Definitely. What's important is that as Cure has been very aggressive and very active, Serral hasn't been able to counterattack. Because of that, Cure, he gets his third up and running, his fourth already on location as well. Cure has a pretty damn good economy behind this, and it has been left untouched. Oh no!
Yeah, well, back at home, he's been untouched, but yeah, unfortunately, it seems like the evening is starting to drag on a little bit on Cure's multitasking.
Yeah.
It's really starting to be, his attention is starting to be taxed a little bit.
Definitely. A couple of big Bailey connections have been going off. The Hydras have arrived there looking to clean up these Medivacs. Mine shots are going to be going up here, but the Medivacs are under threat.
Yeah, the Hydralisks are finally in position here, really starting to be threatening. Cure is able to trade decently and get some of them, but will be forced away nonetheless. Serral once again going for the gold base. He has been enlightened to the ways of the gold. You'll love to see it.
The gold is on the way, but Cure has been macroing beautifully behind this. We are now 200 supply. For the first time here, Cure, he is keeping up with Serral because of how large this map is. Serral, he just hasn't been active. A big mine shot goes up on those Lings.
Yeah, and will that be enough to push Cure over the edge here when it comes to the engagement? A couple of Banelings here will not get the juicy connections they wanted to, unfortunately, here for Serral.
Yeah, we can see the Serral's being pulled apart a little bit as we have a massive push over towards the other side of the map. How good are the mine shots going to be? Decent connections onto the Hellbats, though.
Yeah, that was a fantastic mine shot on a couple of those Banelings, but unfortunately, the friendly fire did end up connecting with some of those Hellbats, and Cure just barely doesn't have enough to break on through in that position.
Yeah, exactly. Serral has been able to keep up for the most part. Likewise, we talk about how Cure hasn't been losing any of his economy back at home. Neither has Serral. Serral hasn't lost too many drones at all as he now has momentum. He's pushing out across the map. He's getting on top of the army.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Massive Baneling connection on just about every single one of those Banelings. There's still plenty more where that came from when it comes to Serral's army, but now pushing this far off of creep into a bit of a concave is terrifying for any Zerg player.
Yeah, as you were saying, a massive Widowmine shot of the army of Serral, and suddenly Cure, he forces Serral back. Suddenly Serral is on the back foot here, and he needs time to replace those Banelings. He needs time to get them back up and running.
Yeah, Cure, once again we'll get another juicy mine connection on top of Banelings, and that might just about be enough here. Cure's momentum has not been stopped just yet. I think he sniped the Overseer as well. So these mines are going to be able to reset.
Yeah, exactly, as he's going to be taking down this gold base. The Banelings, they have finished up, though. We do see Serral keeping up this time. He is able to get some decent connections here. He's barely holding on to that gold.
Just barely. Marauders will be a little bit annoying here for Serral. Some, once again, very juicy mine shots. Serral was down to about 3-4 Banelings in this army. Thankfully, he did just get a couple of reinforcements, but they don't really have much of a Ling buffer for them anymore.
Yeah, this is snowballing out of control. The hatchery is going to be going down. As you mentioned, there just aren't enough Banelings here with the main army of Serral. A couple more are trickling on in, but the spread is too good. Cure, he's busting on through.
He is busting on through, and there's nothing stopping him now. Serral got the Hydra then, but he neglected the Longers.
Yeah, he's relying on Lingbane instead. He does get a surround here. It looks like with these reinforcements, he's able to hold on. Takes down a full medevac. He did lose the hatchery, but at least he keeps his workers alive.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to remake them. He can spend his larva on army units, which are a lot more important right now and a lot more impactful.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see Serral is having a really hard time respreading his creep here out on the center of the map. The aggression of Cure is just becoming too much. He has already thrown down the Ghost Academy. Ghosts are being incorporated, so that is an answer to the eventual Lunkers or even the Vipers at the moment as well. So Cure, he's not looking too bad here in the Revive match.
Yeah, we thought that last game on Dragon Scales was the closest we were going to get here for Serral, but now he's actually looking in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, in saying that though, that was a much better fight for Serral. A lot of friendly fire there, dragging the mine shots into the Bio army. At the same time, Liberator harassing, distracting Serral here, getting 6 workers and pulling back his army.
Just barely, though. Once Serral realizes that queens are going to be enough to deal with that, he will be sending the rest of his army once again to be active on the map, guarding the gold base by the looks of things.
Yeah, exactly. He's over towards the right-hand side, expecting a rotation out of Cure. Cure doesn't go for that, though. He's able to clean up some creep over towards the left, but he's giving Serral some breathing room. A breathing room that Serral desperately needs as he's getting into Infestors, getting into those fungals. His spellcast is going to be so crucial here. Likewise, so are Cures. If he's able to connect with those EMPs, he can still take a big fight.
Yeah, we shall see, though. It's all going to be coming down to the positioning of those Vipers here from Serral. He knows that the ghosts are out, so he knows that he has to be a little bit careful when it comes to the Vipers. Here comes a full triple-pronged surround coming in, and it works out much, much better for Serral this time. Some huge connections. Basically, every single Marauder got taken out.
Yeah, the Concave was looking good. Mines are going to go down without getting a single connection. Still good control out of Cure. Really good stutter stepping with his bio army. Is trading more efficiently overall. Is going to try to wait for some reinforcements before he really does commit to any kind of big push, as he is forced back and can take control of the low ground.
That one accidental infestor. Okay, I guess it's not that accidental, as there are two of them out now.
Yeah, again, he's looking for those fungals, but a good EMP on the first Infestor. Serral is coming in from behind. He's getting a good surround on this army. He collapses on it, and he does force Cure back.
Yeah, he's recognized that he does not want to give Cure the benefit of getting his reinforcements into position. That is about as weak as that army was going to get at that point. So, yeah, he is able to, once again, reset Cure's entire army, pretty much.
Exactly. Unfortunately, because of those EMPs, he has to wait a little bit longer to actually get energy for those fungal growths. So his Infestors are going to be lying in wait for quite some time. There we go. Lurker Den finally on the way. A bit of a late tech transition here from Serral, but at least it is here on the horizon.
Yeah, those are going to make the defenses of Serral much, much easier. He's going to have a much easier time of zoning out the army of Cure as well.
Yeah, the problem is that it does feel like Cure's in the driver's seat at the moment. It's like he's already got plenty of ghosts to deal with lurkers. He's got Blue Flame on the way, which means he's getting ready for a mech transition. Factories are being thrown down as well, and we have those vehicle upgrades.
That was not something I was expecting, I'm going to be honest here, but it does appear to be what Cure is going for. You might as well, if you have been economically healthy throughout the entirety of the game, if you have the resources for it, then a mech transition is ideal to help you, hold on to your bases and hopefully go for a big counterattack later down the line. But yeah, there is still a pretty massive window of opportunity here for Serral, but Cure isn't at his final form.
Oof, exactly. As we do have a bit of friendly fire with those Widow Mines. Serral is in position to defend this base on the left-hand side. There we go. 2 more factories. A second armory is on the way as well. Tank Ghost or Mech Ghost is the late-game composition you want here in TVZ. That is kind of the end goal here for Cure, and it can work really well on altitude. I'm not so sure, just because of how large it is. It's really spread out. It's really large and open, so you can see a Zerg player have some really good engagements coming from really good angles. It is going to be a tough thing to accomplish here for Cure, but he's working on it.
Yeah, he knows he has a breathing room to do so. He has forced Serral in the back foot for so long in this game that he's going to take the opportunity to get his transition going.
Yeah, and Serral has no idea, by the way. Lurkers are not what you want at all against mech. If he was aware, I'm sure we would see a Spire and a Greater Spire on the way instead, or even an Ultra Cavern. Lurkers are, especially against tanks as well, are not really what you want here, as Cure is applying pressure, just forcing the issue over on the left-hand side, threading that hatchery.
Yeah, it looks like Serral is going to be able to beat back this army for now. He will secure his base, but it gets dragged into the planetary fortress of Cure, and this is exactly where he wants to fight. That's the entire army of Serral, and it is struggling a little bit, but it will be enough to take out the planetary fortress. Here comes Cure, though, with the immediate counterattack. This one Infestor is waiting. It wants to get that fungal.
Cure, he was out of position. That was a great fight for Serral. He took down the planetary, he took down 15 SCVs and a lot of the army, so very nicely done here from Serral, and he's coming in once again with another force.
The fungal does land, and the rest of Cure's bio will be taken out. Look at that, he's grimacing.
Yeah,
in his camera, he's cringing a little.
That's all he had. You can see him plummet in supply. He was trying to get ready for a mech transition, but he cannot get there. He cannot get there in time as Serral just completely annihilates the army. He's going for another base, another planetary.
Wow, and he'll be able to just barely get it as well. Serral, I mean, looking at his economy, he is more than willing. He's more than willing to sacrifice his Ling Bane because he knows he's going to be able to remax. I mean, just look at the minimap and look at his bank. He's got larva for days. He's got minerals for days. He's got, okay, a little bit shaky when it comes to gas count, but the unit composition he's going for isn't that gas intensive anyway, so he doesn't really need that much gas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Serral, the all kill is about to happen. Things were very close. Things were neck and neck. Kure thought that he had the breathing room to transition his kind of army and to try to refine himself, but the answer is he did not have the room for that. Not here, not on altitude. Serral with the killer instinct. He's coming in once again, gets the yoinks on those tanks.
Yeah, things are looking so shaky this time. We thought that finally Serral was gonna bleed. But not today. He just wanted it way too much. He just wanted that all kill way too much. He is knocking Kure down to not even 3 bases, more like 1.5 at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Like one good fight on left hand side is all that Serral needed to snowball out of control. Kure landing an orbital here, not even a planetary. His fresh bases are looking so exposed, and you can see he just doesn't have anything to work with. He's down to was even sub 100 supply for quite some time.
Yeah, for the very first time in this entire map, Kure is struggling. Serral will be taking control of the pace of this game, and I gotta be honest, I don't think this game is gonna go on for too much longer. Serral will take control right to the finish line.
Exactly, as he collapses on these tanks again. There's just not enough to protect them. There's not enough to support them. The upgrades are not there, especially with this late transition out of Kure. Every tanker is down, and even though Kure's holding on, you can see him at GG out, and Serral does it. He takes down every single player on ABYDOS.
Look at that! But just as she said, I believe that is our first all kill, at least our first all kill in the playoffs. And was there really ever any doubt? Yes, actually. I was doubting. I didn't believe in the all kill potential here for Serral, winning, what was that, 2, 4, 6, 7 games in a row with very little rest in between them. He definitely looked a little bit fatigued by the time we got to these final games against Kure, but he just wanted it too bad. He wanted that all kill, and he was able to just turn on that clutch factor, tighten things up whenever he needed to, and deliver Basilisk into those grand finals. Reynor and Trigger have been so well rested, have not had to reveal their hands at all this entire time as they get into things.
Yeah, there's a reason why Serral is considered to be the best player in the world. There's a reason why he was the MVP of the round-robin season. There's a reason why he was considered to be the MVP of his own team as well by all of his teammates. He is just a dominant force in the scene, a dominant force in general, and GG, well played. He gets the all kill, and Team ABYDOS, they came so close, especially in that last game. As you were saying, Kure, he had a lead, he had his advantages. He thought that he had the freedom to kind of tech up a little bit further as well, but very quickly things just turned sour for him. Things turned in favor of Serral.
Well, I'm not sure if I would go so far as to say that things were close for ABYDOS to win that series, because we didn't really get to see that series go to its full potential. ABYDOS was close to taking out Serral, but then they would also have to contend with Reynor. They would have had to contend with Trigger as well. Yeah, things just weren't in the cards for them. Nobody, I guess there is a reason why everybody did predict Basilisk to win that series. I mean, ABYDOS, they had a great run this season. They took out Team Liquid in a very close match. They took out CranKy Gaming in the, not just in those playoffs, but twice. They took out CranKy Gaming in the group stage and in the playoffs, despite being the heavy underdogs there. But that Cinderella story had to come to an end here. the beauty did end when they went up against the beast that was Serral.
Exactly. I mean, you mentioned it yourself. ABYDOS coming into this, they were the underdogs, not just tonight, but also last night as well. Not a lot of people had faith in them, but that's also why, it can be really hyped to get behind an underdog story, right? To cheer for ABYDOS, the creator, Cure, DRG, and Nightmare. And I was hoping they would have a bit of a better performance here against Team Basilisk. I hope they're not too upset with it. Again, Serral, he is a terrifying player. He is the best performing player in WTL. For good reason, and
he's the only player who's S rank.
He is,
according to SC Boy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, to be fair, they've been a little bit frivolous with Maru. If you remember, he was S, then they took it away from him, and then they gave it back to him. And I don't know if he's S anymore. We'll find out when we see him later.
Yeah, we will find out later down the line. We'll see if we come out swinging right off the gate with Maru versus Serral as our first match. It's very, very unlikely to happen, especially from the side of Basilisk, right? Serral, like J-Dolph was saying here in chat, Serral, I'm sure he would love to get the all kill on both teams, but yeah, he probably needs a little bit of a rest. He needs to collect himself a little bit, get some water, go to the bathroom, and yeah, I'm not sure if the interview here. I mean, he's gonna be staying on for the interview, isn't he? There's no way they're gonna pass up a chance to interview the only player to have all killed so far.
Yeah, I'm sure they're getting ready. At the moment they are getting ready for that winners interview. Whether it's with Serral or Roddy, I'm not too sure. But they will have an interview nonetheless. But as you were saying, I'm sure Serral needs a break. I'm sure he needs a moment to himself here, and I would be very shocked. I'd be very surprised if Team Basilisk field Serral first in the next series.
I kind of want them to, just for just to make him suffer a little bit. But it's not a good plan, and it's not a good strategy if they want to win against Onside.
Yeah, I'm getting some KyZ Gaming flashbacks. This is a very similar situation to last season, where Oliveira, he carried KyZ Gaming. He carried Raynor and Spirit on his back throughout the playoff brackets all the way until the grand finals. And then by the time we hit that finals match, Oliveira, you could see it, and he even said it himself, he was tapped out. Like, he was just out of stamina after a very, very intense weekend. To be fair, unlike KyZ, they fought their way through round one all the way to the finals. Serral not as much, but tonight at least, like, he has played a lot.
So what you're saying is we need Trigger in the first round.
Well, this is a team league for a reason.
We need Trigger to be the spirit of Basilisk.
We need a Trigger and Raynor to step it up here and support Serral in his time of need, especially against Onside Gaming in that next series. Oh, but again, we still have some time to ourselves here to get ready for that, and I'm sure Serral is happy for that. He's just taking a breath.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted to get the interview done as quickly as possible, but there were just no words. I think most of us were not, I wouldn't say shocked, but at a bit of a loss for words. We knew that Serral had it in him to all kill ABYDOS here, but seeing it, actually witnessing it happen before our very eyes is very different from just imagining it as a possibility. So yeah, Serral needs a couple of seconds to collect his words here as we get ourselves into the interview. I'm sure our translator as well, our interviewer, Little Red Rabbit, I believe is her handle, needs a little bit of needs a couple of seconds to collect those thoughts to figure out what to ask Serral there.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're just getting like all the mics ready and the camera ready and all that good stuff. So is understandable. It's definitely understandable here. Oh boy, but yeah, I was not expecting this series to turn out the way that it did. It wasn't a fast series, to be fair. It has been 2 hours, but a little bit one-sided nonetheless. So yeah, just really impressive stuff out of Serral. As a reminder, On-Site Gaming are waiting in the grand finals. That's Maru, that's Solar, that's Ryung, that is Crank as well, of course. And they have been watching the entire time. Crank has been casting over in Korean, so I'm sure they've been just gathering a lot of information on at least Serral. That's the other thing, is that they have been able to keep Rainer and Trigger just hidden from what's been going on. As we are going for an interview, see you guys afterwards.
Hello Serral， 恭喜你获得了比赛的胜利，而且一个人把对面所有人都给灭了，非常的厉害 ，all kill 直接打了个7比0。那现在所有人都很关心你的体力还好吗
？So congratulations, Serral! What amazing series! You eliminate all your opponents on your own with a clean 7-0 all kill. So all of us now are worrying about whether you are feeling tired right now.
I'm feeling hyped, you asked. I'm feeling pretty good. It was a good set of matches for me. I had some close games there, but in general, really happy with how the games went, and yeah, just glad I managed to beat them all.
好的 ，Serral 说他听到这样，他感到非常的激动。他说他现在的状态非常好，就是在刚才比赛里面有一些很容易的比赛，然后也有一些比赛进行的非常的激烈，但总的来说，他现在感觉状态非常好。
哇，现在手很热，很亢奋啊！那接下来的一个比赛应该会打得更好。好，那第二个问题是想问一下，赛前其实你的队友都是预测是 DKZ 战队会打上来，那只有你当时一个人预测了是 ABS， 而结果也是如你所料的，所以想知道一下为什么当时就会预测是 ABS 上来呢？是不是也因为自己的成功预测而去做了很充足的准备呢
？Okay, Serral. So the second question is, all your teammates predicted that your first opponent would be DKZ, but only you predicted that it would be Team ABYDOS. And it turns out that you are correct. So why do you think it would be Team ABYDOS instead of DKZ? Did you prepare especially for playing against Team ABYDOS?
Well, I did think ABYDOS has a really good chance. They have a good, strong lineup. To be honest, I did think DKZ was probably the most likely one, but there was a good chance ABYDOS could do it as well. But yeah, I didn't do too much preparation beforehand, just because it's hard to prepare when you don't 100% know who you're gonna play against. But yeah.
OK， 好，所以 Serral 说他认为就是 ABYDOS 是一个很强的队伍，他们有很好的阵容，很好的队员。但是其实 DKZ 实力也很强，他们其实是更可能晋级的一个队伍，但是在结果出来之前，谁都没有办法说结果是什么样，所以ABS 战队也有很大的机会来就是进到下一轮，所以在不知道下一个对手是谁的情况下，他并不能够很好做准备，所以他并没有特殊的准备，就是打 ABS 的队员。
只是抱着一颗这个平常的心态、平常的训练准备，然后今天打了一个 all kill， 实在是太精彩了。那其实你在打 kill 选手的第一把的时候，用了一个不是非常常见的一个2矿开，当时为什么会在这一把选用这个开局呢
？So Serral, in your first match against Cure, you choose a 15 hatch into 2 base early roach speed opening, which is quite an unusual build order in the tournaments. So why did you choose this opening?
Well, I think it's pretty good against the double Rex Reaper opening, and just in general, I thought it would be a good idea to do something like that on that map, especially taking the cold afterwards and just doing the roach pressure or all in or whatever you want to call it, I guess. But yeah, I just thought it was a good idea on that map, and I do like the 15 hatch openers in general.
好的。Serral 说，他认为这是一个很好的应对2兵营先出3死神的一个开局。然后在这张地图上，他认为出蟑螂的话是非常好的一个选择，无论是在中期给压力，或者是选择 all in 打一波，都是非常好的选择。
好的，那确实也是解释了这一张地图上面选择了一个2矿开，而且也是取得了很好的效果。好的，那今天的这个最后一把，其实你一开始是有一些劣势的，但是最后还是强势翻盘了，可以评价自己刚刚打得非常精彩的这个最后一把吗
？So Serral, in the ace match, in the last match against Cure, so at one time you were actually behind in the game, but somehow you managed to get
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure myself. I do think the start wasn't amazing, but it was obviously very playable after that. But after losing the problem is that I kind of wanted to all in him with just Hydroling Bane, but he did a really good job defending it, so I kind of didn't have fast enough hype or anything behind. So it just became really uncomfortable, and after I lost the gold base, it felt pretty hopeless. But yeah, just a couple of good fights, couple of good fungals, and the turns they just turned around pretty fast. So I know it's just CVT is always about small stuff, just getting the proper fights going.
Okay, thank you. So, Serral 说他就是最后一把打 Q， 他开局守了 Q。的野3兵营，他是觉得开局是非常好，对他非常有利的。但是就是在人族野3兵营失败之后，这个局势对于人族来说局势仍然能打。然后 Serral 的想法是他想要选择四蛇狗毒爆一波来 A 死 Q， 但是这个并没能奏效，所以然后在之后Serral 在几次交战中吃了一些亏，然后被 Q 打掉了他的黄金矿。这个时候他觉得自己非常烈，但是在这之后他几次和 Q 的交战中战损都比较赚，然后并且一次感染虫的定成功吃掉了 Q 很多的部队，然后所以成功让他赢下了比赛。他说 ZVT 这个对抗就是一些很小的很细节的东西，你一直吃战损，然后你才能够赢下整场比赛。
是的，最后一场比赛确实是非常的精彩，我们所有观众都看得热血沸腾。好的，那最后一个问题就是你们下面的一个对手 OSG 有非常强大的选手，比如说 Maru 啊、Solar、Young 啊，来评价一下他们，给他们送上一句话吧。
Okay, Sarah. So your next opponent would be Onsite Gaming, which would be a very strong opponent. So are you prepared to beat Maru, Solar, and Ryan? And could you talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, I think our team is very much prepared. Their lineup's very strong, but so is ours. And yeah, I feel like should be comfortable winnings. But well, it's always hard. All the teams here are really good, and Onsite obviously is amazing. All the players are really good, but in general, just really confident as a team that we should win if we play our game.
Okay, Serral 说Onsite Gaming 的选手和阵容都非常的强大，但是他们自己队伍的阵容和选手也非常强大。他认为他们应该能够非常容易的赢下比赛，但是他也不是100%确定，因为在战队联赛里面所有选手都非常的强。但是总而言之，他还是很有信心能够赢下之后的比赛的。
哇，好的，也是祝愿你们在接下来的比赛里面可以发挥出色。感谢接受我们的采访，谢谢 ，Thank you， 拜拜，
拜拜。
好的，那么我们的这一段比赛到这里就要告一段落了，我们稍事休息一下，一会儿回来会有更精彩的比赛带给大家。